I never had the chance to run, leave behind the said and done, figure out what's to. Freedom, I never had the chance to run, leave behind the said and done, figure out what's to come. Reasons, all the bigger things I can't ignore. I'm not getting what I came here for. Gotta get ahead of something more. So I think I found a new way out, way beyond a shadow of doubt. 'Cause I can't breathe, and I guess I could be stronger now, and leave it up to fate somehow. But I'm doing this for me. Give it up, baby, I'm not fooling anyone. Always going on and on. Can't you keep it to yourself for once? Oh, I think I found a new way out, way beyond your shadow of doubt. And I can't breathe. Oh, I hope you're keeping count of all the times you let me down, and all the things you said out loud, the bullshit I could cry about. And I know we could be stronger now, and leave it up to fate somehow. But everything I do for me.
I get lost sometimes and I can't seem to find a light between the walls I built for myself right in my mind. And then you came over and you showed me love that I never had seen before. And now when I got you, it's all gonna be alright. Thinking about all the things we did tonight, what a time to be alive. Just you and I, just you and I. Only you can put my fire out. You can turn it all around. You can lift me off the ground, so we can fly again, so we can fly again. Trying hard not to go out of my mind, and all I need right now is for you to stay the night. But if you keep saying that you've got to leave, then I'm gonna be alright. As long as you tell me that we ain't running out of time. Thinking about all the things we did tonight. What a time to be alive. Just you and I. Just you and I. Only you can put the fire out. You can turn it all around. And you can lift me off the ground. So we can fly again. 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 So we can fly again.
Atomic particles traveling near the speed of light do decay more slowly than stationary particles. As strange and counterintuitive as it seems, time dilation is a law of nature. Traveling close to the speed of light is a kind of elixir of life. Because time slows down close to the speed of light, special relativity provides us with a means of going to the stars.
Let's do it. Get up, get up. We want you to get on your feet. Stand up, stand up. Come on, get loose with the heat. Right now, right now. Pick your body till you black out. So get the fuck up. So cover and duck, you're out of luck, we don't give up. Yeah, we're going up, next floor is us, you're riding with us. We want you to get on your feet. Stand up, stand up. Come on, get loose with the heat. Right now, right now. Pick your body till you black out. So get the fuck up.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Simplay Motorsport for round 3 and 4 of the Pro Series. We saw a great night for certain drivers last night in the Pro-Am. What are we in store for tonight? I'm Matthew Duffin. I'm going to be taking you through the coverage, as always, with my partner in crime, Sticky in the box. Kelly, how are you?
Oh, very well, mate. Very well indeed. And, feeling good today for some reason.
Would that have anything to do with your race win last night, Kelly?
Oh, sorry, pole position and
pole
race win.
Position and race win, yes, apologies.
Yes, probably has a lot to do with that.
We've got a cracking night of racing for you. Round 3 and 4, like we said, here at Daytona Road Course, the night race, the Monaco of Simplay Motorsport, if you will. Funny that, how it's on the same week as Monaco is in real life. Oh, a big boy Brazier is having some lag issues already.
Oh, yes.
That is not what you want to see early doors. I'm sure not what he wants as well. Evening 2, Don Productions in the chat. Kelly Davis, Smithy, Dean Wasaki, and Disco Miss Disco Face, who made his debut last night as well after the absence
did
of
well.
camp. Yeah, did all right. He kicked himself a little bit, saying he put the hard tyres on, but did all right on his debut. A lot to learn when you're running with certain guys that you've never raced with before. You've got to kind of figure out how they drive. But all in all, Kelly, after the shenanigans, what happened in race 1, it was a good, solid night last night, and let's hope for more of the same here. We've got a 20-minute practice session for you at the moment. These guys just getting to grips, last-minute setup tweaks, followed by, obviously, the 10-minute qualifying, evening to the wall as well, who says, hey, Kelly and Matt, evening to you. Followed by the 10-minute qualifying, then a 17-lap race, where the pit window is lap 5. We've got a 15-car grid. No Phil tonight in the Acura after his good week last week, a 4th and a 6th, I do believe, last week in the Acura. He's at work on nights. So his partner in crime, Sooty Apex, makes his first 2 starts of the season. And it's not the track that he'd have wanted to start in the Acura, Kelly, is it?
Probably not. And I think we're going to have, probably in this first 20-minute session, a long chat about car form around this track. Because you and Dan, I know, did some practice. And we'll get into that in a bit. But yes, in the Acura, he might struggle tonight.
I'm just going to give you a quick rundown of the current championship standings as it goes. Obviously, don't forget tonight the drop scores will take place. Obviously, the drop score comes in after the first round. The lowest score of the season is dropped from the guys' total. There is one driver taking their double points, so we'll get into that after race 1 like we normally do tonight. But Jamie Brazier, big boy Brazier, leads the championship at the minute by 1 point from D Biggs. He was tied with Andy, but Andy got a 5-point penalty for the reset button, let's not forget. So he's now in 3rd place, 4 points off the lead. Unorthodox down in P4 with Phil 5th, who we mentioned a moment ago. Great session. Oh, it's Dan there. Is in the words of Kylie Minogue, spinning around.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, thank you. Phil then, after we said a moment ago, is P5 after what was really a lot of people doubting the Acura and doubting what the Acura is capable of in terms of a good car, quick car this season. Phil proved them wrong. P5 at the minute. 2-time champion Gary P6. Mazda, not the best of starts for Mazda, not the greatest either. P8 in the championship with Bozzy. Sorry, P7. Bozzy P8. Yeah, P8. Monkey Boy P9. Emo Guy P12. Little Leach is Emo Guy's P10, Little Leach is P11, Keegs is P12, Peaceful's P13 with Welshie 14th, Joe 15th for Sooty Apex, 16th and last. At the minute, the constructors will Shake and Bake Motorsport of Dan D. Biggs in the Porsche lead the way by 8 points from Iron Brew Racing of Jamie and that Bozzy boy in the Audi. Class of 97, the 2 Ginetta cars. What a week for the Ginetta as well. We talk about Phil in the Acura. What a week for Andy and the Ginetta, taking a win right off the bat and a pole right off the bat. They're 3rd. Leachy Legends, 2-time constructors winners, down in 4th. Simplay Racing, the Master and Keegs team, in P5 with GQ Motorsport 6th. Run Flat Racing 7th, and Straight Line Racing of Welshie and Joe in P8 then, currently on 14 points. Still a huge amount of points to play for. 22 races this year. This is only 3 and 4, Kelly. And what are we expecting tonight out of these pro guys?
Well, let's talk about form. We're watching Andy in the Ginetta, and he really shocked us. Him and Emo Guy with the pace of this Ginetta last weekend. So hopefully they can do something good with it again tonight. So as I started to allude to, we talked about all week. The talk's been how the Mercs are going to be the quick car around here because of the nature of the circuit and being a power circuit that it is, with all this oval banking and long straights, very little corners around this track. it's going to be about power. And we said that the Mercedes were going to be strong. You and Dan did practice, did you not, Matt?
Yeah, we've done practice 2 nights this week. Myself in the Merc and Dan. Oh, it's Andy getting turn 1 horribly wrong. And are we going to see a bit more of that tonight? Yeah, I was in the Mercedes for 2 nights this week with Dan in the Porsche.
Yeah.
What we found was the setup I was using was a bit sketchy on the infield, where the Porsche was a lot more dominant. But the minute that Mercedes-Benz is on board with Monkey Boy, he's not far off the oval. The minute it gets onto the oval, the Merc's grunt just seems to be so much better in terms of pulling it round that oval part of the track. The bus stop doesn't seem to really be there for it. You just seem to get through that, no troubles, because you've gapped the car behind. Now, what we were seeing last night, and Kelly, you were obviously aware of this as you was racing, was that the Porsche was able to keep with the Merc in its slipstream. Dan in my slipstream in the Merc was just dropping further back. Not as bad as the Audi with Jamie Brazier. That's a whole different story. That really did drop back. But the Porsche dropped back slower, a bit slower than the Audi did. Now, what we saw last night, Kelly, and obviously yourself know this, you was driving.
Yep.
The Porsche gained on the Merc. Now, whether that was to do with Kieran and Fury's setup, obviously we've got 4 guys racing in the Merc tonight. Keegs, Mazda, Peaceful, and Monkey Boy, who we're on screen with now.
Yep.
Their setup's going to be a lot better. We were saying off air, we're hoping to see maybe the Pro guys have a better setup, the right setup for the Merc. I mean, Fury still dominated race 1. Well, I say dominated. He found it hard with Nicky before Nicky had a spin, but took the race win quite comfortably in the end. Tonight's a different story, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. And Nicky kept him very honest up until Nicky dropped it and had damage. So what we saw last night was the Porsches. Nicky was right up there and leading the race for quite some time in the Porsche. For a lot of the race 1, I had one of my wheels knocked off by the shenanigans in lap 1, so I was right out of it in the first race. Second race, if you get an opportunity, it's probably the best sim race you'll ever see. So go back and watch it, race 2. And a really nice guy won it. But in the Porsche, my Porsche was keeping pace with the Mercs, no problem. And every time that Kieran tried to overtake me, I could just have enough power to keep him at bay, right? But we did find out afterwards that a lot of people's setups were all over the place. Now, I was running quite a lot of downforce, probably a lot more than I needed, right? But I was still able to keep that pace. Now, Nicky in the other Porsche, in the sister Pro Laps, and as we've seen Big Boy Brazier disconnected, hopefully he'll get back in again, it was running very little downforce, but we were doing very similar lap times. So what should be happening here this evening is the Mercs should be really, really strong. Possibly the Porsche is second, Ferrari, Audi, Ginetta, along those lines, and the core in there as well somewhere. Do you know what I mean? But these cars should be the class of the field tonight. But who knows?
And this is where we've sort of been speculating, isn't it, over what the Acura and the Ginetta will do, which we're not expecting a lot. But what is their fight going to be? As we see on the leaderboard at the minute, Andy and Sutty currently 5th and 6th, which, I mean, I'm sure they will bite your hand off at a 5th and 6th place. But what we're going to see is how sustainable that is over the course of the race pace. 1 lap pace, fine. But over the race, what can they do going forward? This is going to be the biggest question. Emo Guy's down in P10. Is that more a realistic pace for that Ginetta? You look at the guys who are... You look at the guys who are behind him. D-Biggs and Keegs. That doesn't look like a relatively quick lap, maybe not the best lap they've got in their locker. And that Buzzy Boy and Welsh, but that Buzzy Boy obviously got promoted last season from the Pro-Am to the Pro. Is he just struggling on us? Are they going to struggle on these tracks where they've come up from in a new car? Welsh struggling maybe on the pad as he's just gone quicker than Emo Guy. Emo Guy in 11th seems to be that's his pace. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
As we see, and this says it all. Sorry, Kelly, this says it all. 4 Mercedes, all in the top 5.
There you go. Yeah, absolutely. And Little Leach being the first of the Porsche runners. So probably Andy's the one who's, kind of punching above his weight a little bit at the moment. And but as I said, it's really difficult. Last night just kind of took the rule book and ripped it right up, didn't it? It wasn't the form that we're expecting. But as I said, myself included.
I mean, look at this. This is just typical of what we're expecting tonight.
Look at that.
Look at the Porsche.
Yeah.
And that's come. Joe there has come from a long way back. Now, all right, the Acura and the Ginetta will be good through the bus stop. They'll be good on the infield. The minute they touch the oval, they are a sitting duck. And Andy said on interview last week, the car's a dream through that middle sector at Spa. Well, you split Spa down into its 3 sectors. Sector 1's got the start straight. After turn 1 up Eau Rouge over Radion, you've got all that pace that's flat out.
Yeah.
And then you kind of finish your sector where there's a lot of flowing corners in that middle sector. And then you get to the end bit where it's quite flat out again until the bus stop chicane.
Although Eau Rouge takes a car to be planted. You know what I mean?
It does. But the run you can get from El Rouge is going to be far greater in a Porsche or Mercedes than what it is in the Ginetta. And like Andy said, that middle sector where the corners started to come one after another really brought that Ginetta to life. And maybe we didn't get to speak with Phil, but maybe that's obviously the similar case with Phil. The middle sector maybe suited the Acura the way they had it set up as well, compared to obviously the first and last. Here, the infield's not big enough. There's not enough on the infield. There's 3-4 corners on the infield, which isn't enough for the Ginetta and the Acura to shine. So, damage limitation for them 3 guys tonight, you have to say. The Wall, best after a Thursday night football training, watching Simplay Motorsport and listening to Kelly and Matt's voices to calm down. Oh, that's nice to hear the voice.
Well, soothing. There we go.
Smithy says, Lil Leach and Gary, come on. The Wall, go at Dan, Andy and Emo Guy. Daniel Francis, the Merc over the Lambo is light years. Wish I'd tested it soon. Yes, Daniel Francis in the Pro-Am, changing cars, losing the points he'd already scored this season for both last week and this week to go into the Mercedes-Benz for next week. Disco at Disco Face, Beamer should not be a lot stronger. Beamer should be a lot stronger next week. Looking like rain too. Oh, bit of rain around at Hockenheim maybe. So we'll have to keep your eyes out. Keep your eyes on the Facebook group and on the Discord. The weather will be posted on there so that you know what we are looking at. Here is Monkey Boy. Kelly, are you wanting to take us through a lap?
Yes, and flat out as you come round the last corner and start-finish straight. There you go. Turn 1's a tricky one. Hit the brakes now. Down a couple of gears. Bring it over you will go wide. Bring it over into the apex. The Mercs seem to go deeper into there. Certainly were last night. Through this bit, accelerating through. Touch the curb this side or kick the back end out a bit. Brake as late as you dare. Hairpin. 180 degrees round to the right. Tuck into the apex. Put on the power as you go. Next one is flat scat through the left-hander. Might get a little bit wiggly on the back end depending on what your setup is. So just don't touch the curb. He did anyway. Just at the end of the cones, hit the brakes. This is where I was losing the back end a lot in practice. Easy to get on the throttle too quickly in the back end to step out. Pull it over to the right-hand side. Brake now. Down a couple of gears. Again, very easy to lose the back end on acceleration. But you want to be hitting this hard because whatever speed you take off that corner, you're taking all the way down the oval. So obviously onto the oval now, onto the banking. Stay low. If you're up high, you're going further and it's much more tricky to keep the car balanced when you're up high. Onto the back straight now. You've got a fast chicane coming up. You want to be braking just as the advertising boards change at the 100 metre there. Down a couple of gears, touch the curb on the inside, touch it on the way out. A little bit too much grass there, Monkey Boy, a little bit rude. But you're on to the last bit of the oval now. So, again, accelerating what speed you take out of the bus stop chicane, you're going to have all the way down through here. So you need a good exit out of this chicane because it's flat out all the way here. If you're up on your Delta, you should be able to carry that all the way to start-finish straight. There's the pit lane on the left-hand side. Very easy to go too fast into the pit lane. There we go. That was Monkey Boy. What he didn't improve. Doing a 1:44.8 at the moment, which is quick enough, to be fair. We didn't see too much of that last night. These boys are a little bit quicker tonight. So we're all 5 Mercs in the top five now, are we?
4 Mercs in the top 5 as D-Biggs has just actually split.
D-Biggs, yeah.
The 4 Mercs.
Yeah.
D-Biggs has gone P3. So I tell you what, Peaceful and Mazda, look at their times. Pretty much inseparable. Just less than a tenth between them two. JR Sim Racing. Andy should be decent here. I'm not judging Andy's ability around here. I'm
No,
judging the
absolutely
car
not.
around here. I'm not judging Andy's ability around any. I'm not judging any of these guys' ability around any track. We know Sutty is a quick and capable driver. In the Acura around here, no, I don't think Andy's going to do it either. Daniel Francis. The other thing I enjoyed is having no setup to use as a base. I've worked and found 5 or 6 seconds over the loose default at Hockenheim and still gaining. No more lazy tweaking for me. So sounds like Daniel Francis.
Look out.
Change of car and watch out for him. Has that been a lag?
Yeah,
There suggests that Big
now.
Boy Brazier is in the session. Kelly, you actually probably did us all a favour last night by making sure that it wasn't Mercedes who win every race this year, and by making sure that Forever Forward Racing didn't win every race this year.
Well, mine and Nicky's prize is on the constructors. We don't think we're going to beat Fury on overall pace over a whole season, but we've certainly got our eye on the constructors prize. So that's we stopped the rot last night and gained some good points. What we need, me and Nicky, is a race where we're both in it together and not one pro laps at the front and one pro laps at the back. But we'll work on that.
Yes, indeed, you'll have to. Peaceful Explosion, then, as we like to call him here. He's only got 2 race wins under his belt. One in Season 1, the very first race of Simplay Motorsport at Silverstone Grand Prix circuit in round 1 of Season 1, and then he won Bathurst Race 2 last season in a cracking drive from himself. But I'm sure he feels that he's got that potential in that Mercedes that he's been in for a 3rd season now to win even more races. And all right, Mazda's going to be Mazda, Keegs and Monkey Boy are good competition, as are the rest of the field, like D Biggs, who's only 4 tenths slower. But you have to think that Peaceful tonight is looking at this one and going, this is possibly one of my better opportunities this season of winning a race.
Yes. I mean, we've got a couple of more power circuits to come, haven't we? Monza being one that jumps straight into mind. Yeah, Suhai as well is going to be power circuits, but they're towards the end. Certainly Monza's right at the end, isn't it?
Yeah.
So, we're it's a long way away. So, yes, I mean, any of the Merc boys have got to be having thinking they're going to have a sniff at winning this one, aren't they? Impressed with this guy's pace. Only 4 tenths off the ultimate lap at the moment. So, of course, we're only in practice at the moment. So,
just a shout out as well here. Rabbit Joe, we didn't see the best of Rabbit Joe at Spa last week. Of course, came up with Monkey Boy and that Buzzy Boy. He's running P6, only 8 tenths of a second off the back of Peaceful. So again, real good shout out to Rabbit Joe here, who seems to have maybe found a bit in the Porsche this week. Mr. 2 times. Sure, he's going to be looking at picking up that bit of pace, or is he sandbagging a bit in practice? Do we think it's a few tactics from a few of these drivers not to show their true pace here? Gary P11 doesn't seem to be where Gary would be, but what do we think?
I don't know about sandbagging. Do we? Oh, Dan gets it all over the place there. I was just saying that he's pulled it back up to 6, struggling a little bit with his setup, maybe. I don't know. Do we really play those games? Do you know what I mean? You know, it's things change from your own practice sessions to getting on track, as does the real world, to be fair. Do you know what I mean? You know? I don't know if anyone's playing their games of sandbagging. I think they just want to go as fast as they can, don't they? Or do setup changes or whatever. I've got a feeling that the grid may look a bit like this in about 11 minutes time from now. Do you know what I mean? So
we'll have to wait and see, won't we?
Yeah,
we will have to wait and see.
Andy seems to be the best of the rest. That non-Merc, non-Porsche.
Yeah.
So he's with Sooty just behind him in the Acura. So these guys seem to be the best of the rest. Everything else, I think, is Merc or Porsche, isn't it? From Andy upwards, really. So if I'm right in saying,
yeah, because the 2 Audis are at the bottom end of the field, with Liam not setting a stellar lap time, and Jamie Brazier only just getting back in the session. 37 seconds left then of practice, which means Keegs, Rabbit Joe and Mazda are all done for practice at the minute. Don't forget, Rabbit Joe and Keegs cannot qualify for the first race tonight due to penalties they picked up. They will miss qualifying 1 of this evening. As just looking at my times on my phone, I've downloaded a little app that I paid £2 for, that tells me the split times of everybody for qualifying, when they're purple and when they're green. Used it last night.
How does that work?
You connect it up through the game to the app.
That's clever,
through the
isn't
game.
it?
Yeah, so I've got all the gadgets tonight. Got all the gadgets.
All the gadgets.
But yeah, it's
Toy Story notebook and everything.
Toy Story notebook and everything. Hey, who'd have thunk it?
Yeah, who'd have thunk it at all?
So we're coming to the end of the session then, Kelly, and for these guys it's been a bit of a quiet one at the minute for the Porsche drivers. The Mercs have kind of done what we expect the Mercs to do. If you're the Audi drivers of that Bozzy Boy and Big Boy Brazier, you may be a bit worried on your pace. Gary as well, you may be thinking, oh, I've got to get a bit more at it. And just a shout out to Welshie tonight, who's running on the wheel, we do believe. So he's managed to get the wheel sorted and back out the cupboard. So he's on the wheel, we do believe. People coming to the end of their session. Monkey Boy's coming into the pits. Pit lane tonight, going to be crucial to get that one right.
Yeah, I was just about to start talking about that. It is crucial to get the pit lane. It's very easy to go charging in. And again, if you want to see the best sim race of the season, go back and watch last night's race 2. And I mean, I caught up on Kieran Argent. I caught right up with him on the pit lane entry because he was so incredibly cautious because he's had a disqualification there before. Yep. So he went so cautious. So I caught him up to the point I could have almost overtaken him in the pit lane. But I backed out of it because I would be on the right-hand side of him, and I didn't know if my pit box came up before his. And I didn't know if that was going to cause a bit of a problem. Because it might do, mightn't it?
It might do. Who've we got left out on track? Andy has just finished a lap, and that is practice session over then. Andy went up to P6 with that final run. So what a good lap from Andy. There, though, you have the overall standings from the practice session. Remember, Rabbit Joe and Keegs can't qualify. So Welshie's on the pad, not on the wheel. Oh, so he didn't get the wheel out, so he's on the pad. Let's hope he doesn't drop that one going into race 1. Old joke for those who are regular viewers, and I'm sure he's going to absolutely love me for saying that. But don't forget, Rabbit Joe and Keith cannot qualify for this. So the lowest you could qualify is P13 effectively. Who's your tip for pole position with 4 Mercedes-Benz? And also, guys in the chat, or guys and girls in the chat, get your comments in who you think is favourite for pole. But Kelly, who are you tipping?
And I'm not going to say his name because I'm tipping him.
Right, there we go then. So, I'll say his name, I'll jinx him. Peaceful Explosion for pole.
Oh,
now,
that's the end of that.
The bonus for Peaceful Explosion here is he's got his teammate to have a tow with in terms of Monkey Boy. Yeah. Mazda's teammate has a qualifying ban, so he's got to go on his own. Oh, Peaceful's not going to get pole. He's got a grid penalty. Oh, no!
Oh, no! Oh, me and my big... No, you and your big mouth.
Oh, and he's in the wall.
And now he's hit the wall.
Oh, dear.
Back in. Start again. Right, let's get off him. Poor old Peaceful.
He must absolutely hate us at times. Big shout out to MOT, only the pro champ, but pro mechanic. Gary, you won 3-1 up now. That's out last night. Come on, the Leachy boys. Yeah, they are.
Yes, indeed. So,
can
we start again?
Michael's just put in the chat. Not now, for fuck's sake. Yeah. Okay. So, who are you tipping for pole,
Michael? Mazda.
What gives you that idea? Is it because has a grid penalty?
Well, maybe.
It was hard to look past either or, and now he's got the grid penalty. Yeah, I think we've got to go Mazda.
Yeah, Mazda for pole is my prediction, but we'll see. Remember, it's a rolling start here as well, Matt, isn't it?
It is indeed. So it's going to be a bit more interesting off the line.
Well, it'd be different. It depends what you like. I mean, I like a standing start, but it's something different. We like something different every now and then. So it's a rolling start on this one. These guys have got to get used to this new format of only a 10-minute qualifying as well, haven't they?
Yeah.
It's we're in the evening here, obviously, because it's dark, and so the tyres take a little bit longer to get up to temperature. For me, I put 8 laps of fuel in, got out as quick as I could, and just banged in lap after lap. For me, the Porsche took 3 laps to get the tyres something like it. Lap 1, front tyres were still cold, as we said, see Mazda going in quite deep. I don't know what it's like for the Mercs, and anything else for that matter, but certainly took time to get the tyres in the right windows. Mazda goes deep again. I wonder if he is struggling with tyres.
When I did the Merc in the week, it seemed to be second or third lap of qualifying. Fuel for 5 or 6 laps. and just go sort of thing. But the second, third lap seemed to really be where the time come for them, because Mazda is still quickest through sector 1, even with a few running deeps into sector 1. Mazda still seems to be he's purple on my phone at the moment. No one else beating that time, so Mazda still purple as he's going ahead through the bus stop chicane. Sector 2 comes up just after the chicane here, and I imagine first one through it, he's only green, so that might be because he's not the session quickest through there. I don't know if the app re-updates after practice or whatever, but Gary's just gone purple sector 1. So was Gary just holding a bit back maybe then in the old practice session, as Mazda's going to cross the line to complete the first lap? And what's his time going to be as he comes across the line? A 1:45 dead. Now that is and he's pitted straight away. That's interesting that he's not kept going there.
Is he going to do some setup changes?
I wonder. 1:45. I mean, a 45 dead. It is a brilliant lap time by no stretch of the imagination. Monkey Boy goes in second on Orthodox.
Daniel's
44.6. Here comes Big Boy Brazier. He only goes fifth fastest. Gary though, purple sector 1. Where's he on track? He must be coming towards the end of his lap. He's just gone through sector 2.
Look at these two, Matt. Daniel's just gone quickest with a 44.6, and look at these two. Are they trying the slipstream game that
I think so?
That me and Nicky messed up last night.
Yeah, I think they are.
Yes.
Gary crosses the line and goes P2. Dan was purple in the final sector. 4/10 quicker than Gary in that final sector was Dan. Was that because of the slipstream then?
Well, this is what's... Oh, D Biggs gets out on the grass. That's not going to help their... although he's up on his own time, but that's not going to help their slipstream game.
No.
Let's see. This is where it comes into its own. What me and Nicky were doing, or what we were trying to do, is one follow in behind now. So Daniel would be getting the slip, and then we would pull away out of the way, straight line the chicane, and then pick him up on the other side of the chicane. So the other car got the slipstream on the other side, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Did I explain that?
No,
Badly?
I got that. Looks like D Biggs has managed though to get through the bus stop chicane without sort of hindering Dan's time just behind. Monkey Boy in front. D Biggs could be benefiting from a bit of slipstream from that Merc, although it's not actually in shot. D Biggs now looks like he's backed out of his lap, even though he was 4/10 up. He does. I'm surprised he's backed out of that when he was up on his time, but he's leaving his teammate then with a heck of a run. He could have towed Dan the whole way down this straight here, but he hasn't. Here comes Unorthodox then. What is he going to do in his time? No purple sectors for Dan on the screen that I'm looking at. Monkey Boy's just gone third and crosses the line. No improvement. So it didn't work for the two Porsche cars then. Looking at the time, Gary again, purple sector 1, so improving even more, but he's back in the pit, so he's backed out of that one after sector 2. With 4 minutes left to qualify, and it's nearly over, so these boys haven't had the time. Emo Guy, he's still in the pits and doesn't look like he's going to get a lap time in at the moment. Still sat there. Which will help Keegs out, although Keegs isn't qualifying. Emo Guy still being sat in the pits really helps him out here. Andy on a personal best lap at the moment in time. 2 green sectors coming round the final banking. Peaceful's also green in sector 1. Now, what can Andy do? 3.5 minutes left, so he'll get another run. It's not even a slipstream for Andy, and he improves by half a second. Puts him up to P4, so an impressive time to get that Ginetta into the 44s. Big Boy Brazier, purple, sector 1 at the moment. He's only 3/10 off the pole lap at this minute in time. What is he going to do? As he comes... this is a good question. Where are all the Mercs? There's only 3 that can qualify. Emo Guy's out on track. Buzzy Boy in the Audi's back in the pits. Peaceful's 10th. Monkey Boy 3rd and Mazda 6th. But Jamie, quickest through sector 1. Mazda's not improved through sector 1. So he's no better at the minute than what he was on his first flying lap. In fact, 6 seconds down on Jamie already through that first sector, so maybe having another kind of outlap to get him tyres up to temperature for a second stab at it. But what's Jamie going to do coming up to the sector 2 time? He's not improved. He's not improved on his sector 2 time, but he's 2/10 up. So how much has he lost within that first to second sector then?
Well, this is it. We'll see if he comes across the line and where he ends up. I can't see it. Oh yeah, he's 6, isn't he? 6 at the moment.
Peaceful's just gone pole.
There we go.
Obviously, we'll drop to second with his one-place grid penalty. And Green. Yeah, Green in sector 3 for Big Boy Brazier puts him up to P4. So then, Mazda again, sector 2, not Green, not beating his personal best lap. Emo Guy, who hasn't set a time yet, or has, he's done a bit of an outlap, it says a 1:55 on my phone. He's gone Green sector 1.
Who's that, sorry?
Emo Guy has gone Green sector 1. Mazda then crosses the line just behind Gary there on shot. So let's keep an eye on Mazda's sector times on the mobile at the moment in time. Little Leach down in P11, who was up there as well, just behind the Mercs in the practice session. What can Emo do as he's about to cross the line? Doesn't get a time on the board. Yeah, maybe that was his outlap then. Maybe that's why it was green, because he'd not been out the pits yet. So we'll keep an eye on that one. Monkey Boy, Jamie Brazier, Peaceful, all green, Sector 1. That's interesting to see. Mazda not yet gone through Sector 1, but I'm expecting that to come up soon. There is Mazda, just coming up to the Sector 1 split time. Is he up? He is up by a tenth. Yes. Green, Sector 1 for Mazda, a 42.8, quicker than the other guys who are through the Sector 1s at the moment. So a few personal bests coming in. Peaceful, personal best through that middle sector as well. On board Mazda, that is one of the Leachy legends of Gary or Craig. He's getting... will you be feeling the toe from that clawback?
Don't know if I'm quite honest. I don't know. It doesn't seem like he's gaining, does it? Not in any rate of knots. And to be fair, I would unsight me through the bus stop anyway. Oh, we kind of was a bit deep on the way in there, wasn't it? It wasn't the smoothest run through there.
It wasn't.
But he is 3/4 of a second up.
He's gained
his own time.
He has gained a bit more time. He was green in Sector 2, as is Little Leach, who is just behind Mazda. So that must be Gary then in front. His Sector 2 time come up just after. Gary not on a personal best lap this time around, so he's not really getting anything. Mazda will now feel the benefits of the slipstream. Jamie is in the pit, so he's not going to improve. Neither is Welshie at the moment. Mazda's going to cross the line, and it's pole at the minute. 1.1 seconds, a 43.8. We are into the 43s, and Mazda is absolutely flying. Little Leach behind went up to P9 with his last flying run. Such Apex
43.8.
Yeah, what a time.
Flying.
And he's got another lap here to have a go at it. Sooty Apex in the Acura, green Sector 1. We're seeing Peaceful Explosion at the minute, who didn't set his first sector green. So is this going to be an improvement? We'll see him as he comes through the bus stop chicane, what he's going to be up. Emo Guy has gone up into 12th.
Yeah, anybody else on a quick one?
Well, what a time. What a time from Mazda that was brilliant. What I'm seeing, nobody else really setting the timing screens alight. Peaceful quicker in Sector 1, personal best, but nothing in Sector 2. So let's keep an eye on Little Leach's personal best in Sector 1 as well. Nobody else really improving here, so we'll see Peaceful as he's going to cross the line. We'll jump to Little Leach just after that. Andy, big shout out to him, P8, Sooty P9, so pretty much halfway through the field, so good qualifying for them too. Peaceful then coming up to the line. Can he get that pole back? He goes quicker, but it's not enough for pole, so Peaceful's going to start third with his penalty. Little Leach then up through Sector 1 on his own, no slipstream at all. Mazda and Gary just out in front of them. Looking at air sector times, Gary's on a personal best just in front. And I think Mazda must have... Yeah, Mazda's returned to the pits here.
Yeah, Mazda's pits, yeah. So would I. I'll be getting a deck chair out and sitting back and doing an Alonso with
Fernando,
that.
Yeah.
143.8. Wow.
Well, the Leachy legends here are both on personal best laps here. So they are really flying. Can Gary nick that front row slot? He's got pole! Wow! Leachy legends on pole. Where is Little Leach in the standings?
Go with the Porsche, Gary.
He didn't improve in the end. No. Gary 131. We said it's a Merc track. It's not. It's pole position. If you're Gary 131, what an absolute stellar time. There's a car off towards the end of the oval. Not quite sure who that one is. But what a lap from Gary 131 there. That is magnificent. That's Andy who's had it off. What a shame. But wow, what a lap from Gary.
Not at all bad for a 1960s Beetle, is it?
Not at all. Not at all. Peaceful Explosion there will start. P4 Dan will be promoted to third place with that grid penalty for Peaceful Explosion. Unfortunately for him, but Gary takes pole just from Mazda by 16 thousandths of a second. That is how close it was. Big Boy Brazy will start fifth with D Big sixth. Monkey Boy again a bit down the standings behind a few cars we didn't expect him to be behind. Andy and Sooty 8th and 9th. Stellar job from them two. Little Each then P10 for him at this moment. Is P10 for him. That Bozzy Boy P11. So he could take that one. He'll be pretty pleased with that. Emo Guy gets a P12 with Welshie P13. Keeks 14th couldn't qualify, and Rabbit Joe 15th couldn't qualify. But I think the talking point to start with is how good a lap that was from Gary.
Well, I mean, I was impressed with Mazdas. I thought that was pretty epic. But then Gary to go that little bit quicker in the Porsche.
Yeah.
And I mean, look, Porsche on the front row, Porsche on the second row, Porsche on the third row. They're, you know what I mean? They're not too bad at all, are they?
It's not too bad at all. The Audi as well on the third row of the grid. Mazda and Peaceful, watch for their starts. They're going to be on the outside. So let's see what they're going to do from the start here. Obviously, the Porsche took pole. Last time the Porsche took pole around Daytona, it won, didn't it, Kelly?
Yes, it did. Yes, yeah. I was just trying to think back. When did that happen? Yeah, I remember.
Last
I remember. Night.
My race. Obviously, the pit window.
I wasn't doing 43s though.
Oh no, that is what is the lap record in qualifying round here that we have in the pro groups? We have all that data to our hands.
I
Lap
thought
record.
It was a 44, early 44s.
44-1 from Peaceful
44.
Explosion was the lap record round here. Well, that's just been beaten. Gary has the race record of a 44.6. Gary 131. What a stellar lap! That's why he's a two-time champion. Leaves it till the death.
Absolutely, and nice to see Beth in the chat and shouting on her Thursday night boy instead of her Wednesday night one.
Yeah.
What did Gary say to me last night on the chat? He said. Pump him out the way, or bump him out the way,
yeah,
didn't he?
something like that.
Yeah. So, Dan, bump him out the way.
24 people watching, guys. Hit that thumbs up button. Subscribe if you are new to the channel. And well, we said in practice, Gary was sandbagging a little bit. We think he absolutely was, because he there has what a stellar 16 thousandths of a second. That is the slimmest of margins. It was about as close as Kieran come to bumping into you last night.
Yeah, absolutely. I think he actually did. But
he did, yeah. As we're rolling here, then the lights are about to go on in a minute. There they are. And we're about to get underway for Daytona. Round 3, here we go. It's green. And watch for the Mercedes. Look at Mazda already getting a decent pull. You see him just slightly getting a nose in front. Peaceful already dives in front of Dan on orthodubs here. And Mazda and Gary stay side by side. And Peaceful very, very alert into turn 1. And we all look like we're through. Pretty unharmed then at the moment. Watch for Keegs from the back in his Mercedes. What can he do in this race? But Gary leads from Mazda. Peaceful into third. Dan looking around the outside of turn 2. And has he got that one done? It looks like he's side by side with Peaceful. He's fighting that one out. Big boy Brazier trying to hang in there. In fact, he has got it done. So Dan gets to jump back on Peaceful Explosion.
Yes, indeed. And Gary having the early jump. He's away and flying. This is the rolling start. It all doesn't mix up too much, but nice and clean through the first couple of corners. So that's what we like to see. None of the shenanigans of last night.
Love the overhead shot there. I think that camera angle was absolutely brilliant to see them coming on. Now, this is where we see what the Merc can do. Porsche, Merc. And then you go back to an Audi sort of behind. But look at Peaceful. Look at the rate of knots. This is what we expected last night. Dan is a sitting duck. And they have a bit of a touch. Peaceful and Dan just slightly touched. Dan looked like he just closed the door a little bit as Peaceful just had a bit of nose up the inside. But no harm done in the end. They remain in the same position. But that could have been a scary one. You know all about going off there, Kelly, after last night?
Oh, yep, absolutely.
Oh, wow, look at the run that Peaceful's got.
Just goes right round the outside of him. Must have had a better run. I think Dan was a little bit scruffy through the bus top that first time out. And look at...
that's Jamie.
Jamie, isn't it? Jamie, yeah. Look at him the Audi having a crack at the Porsche. Dan going backwards at the moment. He's got his teammate now right behind him. So I think that look, gone deep. Look, that's turn 1 is quite easy to defend.
Yeah.
If you stay down the inside.
Look at the leaders. Look at the leaders side by side. Master, I think, got through in the end, and yes, he has. Gary could do nothing about it. He's going to look around the outside at turn 2. Now, what's happened to that Buzzy Boy and Keegs? Just looking back on the track map, there's 2 dots way behind. Already 30 seconds. I said watch for Keegs. Well, that one's not gone according to plan. He's already dropped. There is Gary, just as we cut to Keegs. Huge damage. Liam looks like he's got damage as well. Gary was side by side with Mazda. Couldn't get that one done through the left-hander. Mazda being able to keep that Merc in P2. And Gary just trying to squeeze his nose up the inside of Mazda there. And there's one of the Porsches, and that's D Biggs.
Is it?
D Biggs dropping down the standings. Yep,
it is. Yep.
Dan managed to keep in front of Jamie. Sutty and Andy 6th and 8th at the minute. Great job for them too.
Yes, indeed.
Oh, Gary got back ahead of Mazda then.
He did. I don't know. Just done that, and he just jumped from one to the other to see how I was going to see how Peaceful was going to gain on Gary, but
oh wow!
Look
at these, and Mazda was gaining on Gary, which meant that Peaceful couldn't tuck in between the pair of them. Mazda just having to run a little deeper, a little on the grass for the bus stop because Peaceful was side by side on board with Peaceful, and he's right on the tail of Mazda. Mazda's got the pull over Gary. Dan's trying to stick with him and keep with them here. Then Keegs and that Bozzy Boy are going to go a lap down. They've got to pit again as well. Let's not forget. But at the minute, the two Mercs are making a great race. They're letting the Pro Champ get ahead here, but Peaceful's going to slide in front of Mazda, and whatever setup differences they've got, Peaceful is on a charge at the moment. They're already attacking Gary towards turn 1 as well.
But look at Dan catching him up towards the end of that. Oh, Gary.
Oh, is that Peaceful? Peaceful's had a spin.
No.
He's bounced off the pit wall and into the side of Dan. Peaceful's got it horribly wrong into turn 1, and he's subsequently bounced off the pit wall into Dan. How the fortunes changed there. Too much speed with that double slipstream from Gary and Mazda. Too much speed into turn 1, Kelly, and off he goes.
Absolutely, and the Mercs seem to just struggle to tuck in. I was just saying that before that happened, how Dan had caught up so quickly towards the end of that run, just before they got to the braking zone. Dan was really reeling them back in again, like some sort of double slipstream or something. These lot really cutting a hole in the air, and he was able to capitalise. Hopefully, he's not running too much damage now. His teammate is in 8th after a bit of a spin, so we'll see what damage Dan has got. He won't be a happy boy, that's for certain sure.
He won't, and Peaceful obviously bouncing off the pit wall.
Look at this guy.
Yes, just about to say, look how well Andy's done. Sutty's not been able to come through, so has he been caught up in an incident? He's dropped to 10th, but Andy, P4 at the moment, and he's looking quick. He's got past Dan, and now is Dan Keegs there? He's behind Dan. That's a lapped car. Keegs is obviously from pitting early on. Is Dan struggling for straight line speed? Has he got a bit of aero damage? You see the front aero bodywork there looks a bit horrid. Yeah. Is that hurting him in terms of catching Andy? Because he didn't look like he gained on him a lot through that first part of the oval.
No, he didn't. Maybe he is, and maybe he's going to hold on to that damage until he pits. Look, he seems to be correcting the car up and down through the oval, so I reckon he's certainly got some damage he's carrying. And we get a flash of lights. I think
Dan's flashing Keegs to go through. Keegs obviously in the Merc a lap down, quicker car. Yeah. Keegs then repaying that with a thank you as he goes through and unlaps himself from Dan. So Dan is struggling for straight line speed. Just looking at the lap times of Andy and Dan. Dan about 6 seconds slower, but don't forget the incident happened on that lap. Peaceful in the pit before the pit window, so he's going to have to pit again. He obviously couldn't get round with that one. Monkey Boy's got through as well, so the Mercs not having the race we thought. And hey, hats off to this guy, the Audi up in P3. We've not really gave the Audi enough of a shout here tonight in terms of getting up there with its pace. Porsche doing well with Gary, and Mazda, Big Boy Brazy, was actually quicker than the pair of them last time around. Yes, indeed.
He's definitely keeping the front two honest. So again, the form that we've been expecting isn't really panning out, is it? We've got an Audi that we thought was going to be shocking. We've got a Ginetta, which we thought was going to be shocking, both in the top 4, within 3 seconds of the lead. And we've got a Volkswagen in first, where we expected to see a Merc. So again, panning out. I mean, I like this track. Do you know what I mean? It seems to be throwing the rule book aside, doesn't it? And
for all the testing sort of out the window, and we're gonna do what we want on the Wednesday and Thursday night here at Simplay Motorsport. Rule book out the window. The Porsche is going to absolutely dominate the Merc. You see Mazda start to make grounds on Gary on the oval part. Gary seems to have that car brilliantly set up in the infield to keep Mazda just far enough at bay that by the time they get to the oval, Mazda can't do nothing about it. Look at how quickly here Mazda is starting to reel him in. 10th has gone.
It takes time to get into that window. Gary's getting a good infield and getting a good run out of the corner before the oval. And again, we're going to turn 1. I thought we were going in bus stop then. I thought that looked weird. As I said, I mean, Mazda's caught him. But let's see if Gary pulls away now.
Yeah. This is going to be the question. This is where he's not making massive inroads on Mazda, is he? Although he has just pulled a couple of tenths maybe on corner exit. Gary just seems to be getting the power down a bit earlier than the Merc, it sounds like, from the engine noises you can hear. The Porsche a bit higher pitched than the Mercedes. And let's listen and see if Gary gets the foot down a bit earlier.
Gary, better. I was going to say his last corner, he didn't bother the corner before the hairpin. He didn't bother the apex on the way in or the way out, but that was a better corner. Gary going to tuck it again, kind of middle of the road towards the outside. But it's the run that he gets off here is important.
I think that's the thing with the last couple of corners. Just listen to it. Gary seems to get the run and the better run out the corner than what Mazda does, which is just giving him enough of a gap going onto the oval before the Mercedes then starts to creep back at him. As we see now, look at the time falling down. Mazda just starting to come back at Gary. But Gary being stronger through the bus stop, is that helping him on the second part yet again? Let's see.
The bus stop is really diffusing this slipstream advantage, isn't it, really?
I think Gary got that a little wrong, because Mazda's closer now than he has been for a couple of laps, and he's right in that slipstream, so we may see a move coming down into turn 1. Gary here then, you heard him as well, get on that power a little bit earlier. Ariel, Dom Productions, how are they reaching 180? The R8 only got 169 last night. These guys are reaching 180, not only in the slipstream, but here goes Mazda. And Gary's done the Kelly manoeuvre and he's defended it early. Mazda's got to go the longer way around, but with this Merc set up a bit better than maybe Kieran's and Fury, can he drive around the outside? The camera angle tells us no.
Yeah, no. Probably Dom, because they're better at setting these cars up than we are.
Yeah.
That's why.
Yeah, that's why they're the pro lads. As
exactly.
Unorthodox then, first man to make his pit stop at the end of lap 5. So Dan in the pits.
I bet he was waiting.
Yeah,
we'll see how much damage, but I bet he was waiting.
Sutty's just come in, but he's got himself a 10-second penalty, speeding in the pit lane. The Accord is not quick, and he sped in the pit lane. Work that one out. It's got no speed, but Sutty somehow sped. Now, will he jump Dan? Yeah,
probably, because Dan's doing damage. I'm sure
outright
Dan's
pace.
on damage, isn't he?
Yeah, of course he is. Welshie as well coming into the pit box for his pit stop at the end of lap 5. And Mazda then still losing out. He was about 3 tenths going into turn 1. He's lost about 2.5 tenths on the infield to Gary. So he's losing a couple of tenths, but if he's slowly chipping away that on the oval, Gary's got to work even harder on the infield. Dan out the pits, losing the one place to Sutty in the pits. But Sutty has that 10-second penalty now. Look at how close Mazda gets. Mazda seems to be a bit better on entry to the bus stop, but had to mess up the exit there before he hit the back of Gary. And look, he's lost a lot more time.
Yes, indeed. Just going back to the chat and Dom Productions, the cars are the same though. Yes, mate, they are. And when you figure out what the difference is and why they can do 180 and we couldn't, please tell me, because I'll enjoy that information as well. So yes, the cars are the same, but are they getting better traction out of the corners, so on and so forth, and all part of the setup and whatever. Have they even lengthened their last gear? I toyed with doing that, but it was a little bit worried I'd mess things right up. But these are all factors that would make these cars go quicker. But as I said, Ariel, whenever you figure it out, you message me and tell me.
Yeah, you let me know.
Let me know, because I don't want you doing 180 in front of me.
Big Boy Brazian has really dropped off the back of these two. These two are running at great pace at the moment, where they have dropped Big Boy Brazier. Gary's just had that gap at over a second to Mazda. On the infield then, Mazda just seemed to... D-Biggs and Rabbit Joe are in the pits. Mazda seemed to have to get out of the slipstream of Gary at the bus stop last time round. That's why we think Gary's gapped Mazda just that little bit. You watch that time come down on the oval then, as Mazda and Gary... Love that camera shot. It really shows how far the cars are apart from each other.
It's nice, isn't it? It took me a little while to work out where it was when I first saw it, but because the corner doesn't feel like that. Do you know what I mean? It doesn't feel like
it feels a lot sharper than it looks, and it looks a lot more like you can carry a lot more speed through it. Emo Guy in the pits as well then at the minute. So D-Biggs is pitted, he is out. Dan is back ahead of Emo Guy and Rabbit Joe. A bit further down. Oh, and what's happened to Andy?
Andy's had a spin.
Yeah, looks to be the
no
case
reset
then.
button this week.
No, doesn't seem to be the case there then. So Andy has had a spin there, and he's down to P6 at the minute. Monkey Boy has had a bit of a quiet one. He's worked his way up into P5 and Little Each up into P4 then at this moment in time.
Who haven't we had any time on board with? Well, towards the rear, there's Liam in the other Audi. New boy to the pros, made his way up from Pro-Am last year, so finding his feet in the pros, it's a big jump from one to the other, you know what I mean? We weren't lap times are very different, and he's got
look at that, mate.
got Keegs for look, Keegs, that's pretty in that orange, isn't it?
It is pretty in that orange. Keegs that Liam and Peaceful all have to pit again. Don't forget, they pitted before the mandatory pit window. But yeah, Keegs, I said to keep an eye on him throughout this evening. There is Welshie then. He's just been lapped by what looks to be Little Each. He has pitted at the moment. So is his teammate then. On the pad, not on the wheel, as we understand. Which is a shame. It would have been good to see Chris on the pad. He says he likes Daytona, but good to see Chris out there. Obviously, got promoted at the end of season 1, finishing runner-up in season 1 in the Pro-Am. He's now in the Pro. 2 seasons now under his belt in the Pro, so it's good for him as Andy then gets himself into the pits at the end of lap 7.
I mean, I believe Welshie is a little bit older, more my age group than some of the other guys, being that he's dad to somebody. Keegs, yes. And yeah, us older guys seem to like these tracks with less corners. It seems to be our memories better. We can remember 6 or 7 corners, but when you get into 12 or 20, it's different.
Just want to say something here, Kelly, that Sutty pitted 2 laps before Andy and he's jumped him in the pit. Sutty's up to P7 and has pitted, don't forget. I know he's got the 10-second time penalty to his name.
Andy had that spin though, didn't he?
Andy did have that spin, so Andy has got work to do in the second part of this race. I'm sure Andy will bite your hand off at a P9 in the Ginetta round here, and Sutty will definitely bite your hand off at a P7. The leader's still having to pit. Mazda's still just over a second behind the leader here then, so he's not making the inroads we expected.
Yes, it seems to be a little bit status quo at the front now. Mazda seems to be in a second, just over a second behind Gary, and constantly there as well, where he was kind of a little bit closer, and he's dropping back a little bit, really. So, we'll have to see how this starts to pan out. I was expecting Matt. Oh, he's in traffic. Look, that's what's. And of course for this year, or for this season, should I say, the lap cars don't have to jump out of the way. The back markers don't have to jump out of the way like you see in Formula 1 or so on and so forth. It's more like an endurance racing rule book where you're not obliged to get out of the way. It's your own.
It's the leader's prerogative to make the overtake instead of. There was a lot of whinging about back markers and things, and sometimes leaders trying to lap a car in a silly area of the track and then complaining about it. So we decided to say, well, look, now it is your choice. It is your decision when you want to lap the car. He doesn't have to move, so if you're going to do it, make sure you do it cleanly. Otherwise, the leader is to blame. Obviously, unless it's clearly obvious that the back marker has just done something stupid. But no, we've not had no complaints about it. Seems to be a rule that's working very well at the moment. Mazda,
I like it. I think Formula 1 should bin the blue flags as well. It'll make life a lot more interesting.
The thing with Formula 1, I'm surprised it's not been brought in because of the fact, the Mercedes isn't going to have a problem passing the Williams or the Haas, is it? Let's be honest. You know, it's not going to have a problem lapping the McLaren or the Ferrari at this stage of the season. Obviously, unless it's tracks like Monaco and street circuits, but around your normal tracks, it's not really going to have a problem. Andy's in the pits again. So dear. Andy's race has gone from bad to worse in this first one. Joe then deep into turn 1. On this, I don't think he's going to annoy Mazda at the moment. He's not losing too much time to Gary so far, and I'm sure he'll be able to get that opportunity to go up the inside of Joe soon enough. Then there's plenty of chat coming in. Good conversation in the chat. Keeping an eye on that one. Not towards us. They're just chatting amongst themselves. Brilliant to see then.
Chat amongst yourselves. No problem.
Cheers, lads. Keegs then has gained an extra place over Andy, and I imagine that Bozzy Boy will as well. Although Andy's coming out the pits. Oh, Joe! Did he spin? There was a cone just fly across the track.
I thought he blended out the way, but did it a little bit clumsily for himself. Dear. That's kind of how I kind of hoped I saw it. But yeah, I thought he backed out. He was well over to the right hand side before he hit the brakes. So I think he just got out of the way and just made it look a little bit scruffy.
I think he's had a bit of a spin. Yeah, just watching the stream back. Oh yeah, he's lost it on the grass. He has lost it on the grass.
All right. Okay.
And he's in fact, if you look at the track map, he's dropped behind Jamie, so he has dropped a fair way behind. Keegs! Getting a bit wobbly and out of shape and off at the infield, and now that's allowed that Bozzy Boy back through and up into 13th place. Andy's now going to be on the rear of him with Keegs having to pit again. That's not what he wants. So Liam back up into 13th place, got to make another pit stop, only has to be as quick as an in and out sort of thing. He doesn't even have to refuel or anything. But Peaceful Explosion here really is looking quite good for his money down in P9 after his incident. His pace hasn't been too bad, to be fair. I've kept an eye on his pace. He's running good, constant 46s, 45s race pace. Just a shame he had that earlier incident because he looked quick, didn't he?
Yes, he did. Yes, he did. I'm not going to talk about him in race 2. Well, certainly not in qualifying. I'm just going to leave him get on with it.
Yeah.
He's going to have to go back to being because again, as soon as we open our mouths, it's like our comments are connected to his rear diff, isn't it?
Yeah,
so
pretty much.
Yeah, absolutely. So, how's Mazda getting on? Well, he's still in that 1.2 behind Gary. Can't seem to reel him in. Depending on, is he waiting for the pit stops now or whatever? But
yeah, it's a bit of a mind game maybe now. We saw last night, obviously, with yourself and Kieran, Porsche v Mercedes again. That's where Kieran got past you and you're able to make that back up in the pits. As Monkey Boy then comes in at the end of lap 10. Monkey Boy into the pit. So let's see where he feeds out then. Where is Sutty? Sutty's just coming around the oval as Monkey Boy's getting to his pit box. So Sutty, here, is jumping a few cars in this pit stop.
Yeah, what a shame he got that. He got that penalty, But maybe the grass box was full on the Acura. I don't know, But Sooty has jumped Monkey Boy.
I tell you what, right? The Acura's come in for some stick over these seasons, yeah.
Only because you put it on a pedestal.
I put it, and then the pedestal next to it is Matt Neal. But that pedestal's bolted to the floor, so I can fit him in because he's so tall. There'd be no point having it up high; it'd be hanging out my roof. But yeah,
that's right.
It's had 3 good displays at the minute. Oh, who's that off? Is that Andy again? Oh, is that Emo? There was a reset button used there, and Andy. Oh, that's twice.
Did he do it again?
I think so.
Andy. I'm gonna watch that one on the stream. And
he was on the grass and then vanished from the grass, unfortunately. Gary then is into the pit, so he's pulled the trigger on the pit stops.
Yes. Now, last night, as we said, I came into the pits right on the rear bumper of one of the Mercs. Yeah, right in the middle of the grass, and then disappears.
Yeah.
Sorry about Andy. You keep getting caught on that one, my friend. Yeah. Now I came in exactly the same time as God, who was I racing? Kieran. And right on his rear bumper, he pitted. His pit box was in front of me. Neither of us had damage. We didn't do tyres, fuel, or anything like that. But I got the jump on him purely because my pit was faster. Now that was probably because he had another car in front of him and a bit of a proximity type affair, or it could have just been blind random luck. And I don't know how the programming works. Is it just a, blind luck kind of thing? Do you know what I mean? Is there a default in like 2 or 3 seconds and boom, then out they go?
I really couldn't tell you.
No, and I don't think, apart from probably someone from Slightly Mad Studios, is probably the only person who could tell us. But it would make sense, wouldn't it? Because not every pit stop in Formula One is the same time, even when they get it right. Do you know what I mean? There's differences. So is that relevant on the game as well? Does it work like that on the game?
Well,
I'd like to hope so.
You'd think so, wouldn't you? It's going to be interesting to see Mazda now as Peaceful's back in then for his mandatory stop at the end of lap 12. It's going to be interesting to see, I was about to say about Mazda now. Clear air with no Gary in front of him. What can he do here? Now, Keegs has got to pit again. They can't pit on the same lap. So Keegs has got to pit. Mazda's got to try and get as far as in front of Gary as possible as Jamie then comes into the pits before Liam repits. That is the end of lap 12 as well for Jamie. So Peaceful here is he's exiting the pits. Someone else looks like they're coming into the pit lane. That looks to be Little Leach then, as Gary's just gone past him. So Little Leach in the pits as well. So it is literally just Mazda, Keegs and Liam who's got to pit then and redo their second stop. Now Keegs and Mazda, we saw last week, didn't we? Keegs with that huge damage. Mazda only just got in as Keegs went. This week, because of the American circuits, they're able to pit at the same time, but we've decided that as a league, because we normally run it where you can't put on the same lap because of the online championship feature, we're going to incorporate that. The only reason we're not on the online championship feature this week is the American circuits. If you retire the car, it doesn't put you in a garage, it puts you in the pit box, so it doesn't allow your teammate to complete the pit stop, as we saw a few times last season, and it will disqualify them on the penultimate lap. So to save that, we've done it as normal, but asked the drivers to pit on obviously different laps to each other. So Mazda and Keegs have to remember that one, otherwise we'll face penalty from the stewards then.
Yeah. Just looking in the chat, Daniel Francis, I jumped all of you in race 1 because you entered into the pits so slowly, Cal. Yes, I did. I wasn't actually mentioning if you attack the pit entry, of course you're going to have you're going to gain better. But I was right on the back. I mean, like rubbing the rear bumper. We basically came into the pits at exactly the same time, and my pit stop was quicker. My actual pure pit stop. So, and who's that? Is that is that Emo or Gary?
That's Emo or Andy.
Emo or.
It's Andy.
It's Andy. Andy having an absolute shocker.
Yeah.
Looks like that car's damaged again, doesn't it? Look how slow.
Yeah, no real wing on that. That's going to be
a
a nightmare to drive in. JR saying that Andy goes well around here. Well, he's not. I mean, we knew the Ginetta would struggle anyway, but he's not going great guns, is he? Round here at the moment.
No.
D-Big's got in front of Little Each after the pit stops then. There's Keegs who's about to lap Andy now. When does Keegs, that Bozzy Boy and Master pit? They are the only 3 left to pit. You have to pit by the end of this race. Keegs and Liam have to pit again due to pitting before the mandatory pit window. Another rule which got brought in, few people taking advantage of it last year, where they pit for minimal damage and come out to get a podium or 2 in races. And I think it's another rule that's worked quite well. You know, you have the slight bit of damage, you want to take advantage of the mandatory pit window, you get punished for it.
Absolutely. And I mean, I've had 2 meetings in a row where I've had major damage in the first race. I mean, I think me and Fury are the only 2 guys on Simplay to ever lose wheels, are we?
Yes.
So,
yes.
And I lost one last night because the accident was so intense. And yeah, you know, if I'd done that and not taken my pit stop later in the race, then would I have had an advantage? Well, you know, this is the thing.
We've lost Jamie. We've got to lap 14. He will score points, but he will only score points for 14th place. For 15th place, we're at the 3/4 race distance. He's only going to score points for 1 point. Jamie's going to score problems on the disconnection area for Jamie, which promotes D-Biggs to 3rd, which promotes Little Each to 4th. It promotes the Acora to 5th.
It's
I've got to get it in there.
You know, and I'm going to say it again, and people are going to get fed up with hearing it because Daniel is, and I've said it so many times, the sun shines on a dog's arse some days. And it's certainly shining on the Acora.
He's got a 10-second penalty, so he's going to drop to at least 7th behind Monkey Boy. We know that one. I don't think he's going to drop behind Rabbit Joe. That one doesn't seem to be the case. Keegs and Mazda's got to pit this lap or the next lap. Keegs has got to pit this lap or the next lap.
Yeah.
So has Liam. They're running out of time here. And they run this risk last week. One of them's got to get in this lap, one of them's got to get in next lap.
Yeah.
Unless they're that far apart that they. Yeah,
it was tight as last week, wasn't it? Absolutely.
Really was.
Yeah. D-Biggs, I think, doing a solid job, isn't he? We haven't really chatted too much about him, but with one thing or another, he's looking like a 3rd place might well be on the cards here.
Little Each as well for a P4 has done as unorthodox has just got past Sutty then. Little Each as well, after not the better 9th and 12th at Spa, Little Each running P4, really going good guns at the minute.
Yeah, down on a recovery drive. Car's still looking a little bit smashed up, but he had a bit of an incident earlier in that he was running up quite high to start with, but a little bit of an incident which we think damaged his car, and he took a couple of laps holding on to the damage. Car still doesn't look right, but
Mazda's in. That red
Mazda's
dot
in.
on the
Here he
map.
goes.
Mazda is in. So if he's not listening to the stream, or if he is listening to the stream, hopefully he's heard us. Now, where's Keegs? Because Keegs has got to pit this lap or next lap. Keep your eye on that. So Keegs coming up to the bus stop. He might be able to pit this lap, you know, if Mazda is away. He's behind his dad. So Welsh Senior leading Welsh Junior, but Welsh Junior's got to come back into the pits, and Keegs I wouldn't want to be sat at the Sunday dinner table if they're going to have a bit of a scuffle here. Wouldn't want to be there for Sunday dinner.
Yeah, well, for me, father and son, we're on different nights, and look at it all over the shop here. It's getting very tight round there.
Mazda's out the pit, so Keegs would have been free to pit. Hasn't done, so Keegs has got to pit at the end of the next lap. Mazda! Oh no, sorry, read it wrong. Gary's jumped Mazda. Sorry, apologies.
Yeah, Gary's back in the first place, basically, isn't he?
I thought Welshie was about to run into the back of Keegs there. Oh, the dinner table story nearly come true. Welshie could get that place back on Keegs because Keegs has got to pit at the end of this lap. The gap to Gary and Mazda, 2.8 seconds. So Mazda going long hasn't worked for him.
No. Gary just driving an absolute stormer in that Porsche, isn't he?
A champion's drive, isn't it, really? A champion's drive. Look at Sutty there, ringing the neck out to Sakura, a 10th off his best lap with the slipstream of Dan. He's done well to stay that close to Dan for a lap, to be fair, so hats off, Sutty.
Yeah. Fair play. What's Sutty on? Is he on the wheel or on the pad, do we think?
He's on the wheel. There's a bet with him and for the season that because Peaceful Explosion runs a design company. Link in the description. Design Manchester for any design needs you want. Coasters, mugs, t-shirts, jackets, hoodies, you name it. He'll probably do it. They've got a bet.
Well done.
Yeah, cheers, buddy. They've got a bet that if Sutty does the full season on the wheel, he'll get a free mug and a t-shirt. For doing the whole season. Now I kind of chipped in on this bet and I went, Peaceful, to wind Sutty up, can we make this t-shirt have Matt Neal's face on the front? And he says, yeah, no worries. So then Sutty went, well, that's fine. If that's the case, I will pay for Matt to wear a Jason Plato on. And I said, hey, if you do the full week season on the wheel with a Matt Neal t-shirt, I will happily wear the Jason Plato t-shirt. I'll go and get it signed and framed. How's about that one?
You're not proud, are you?
No, not at all. I'll do anything. I'll do anything to make if that's the bet. Hey. Count
anything for the banter.
Yeah, definitely. Sutty then 7 seconds ahead of Monkey Boy, needs that extra 3 seconds over the next lap to stay ahead of him on the time penalty. Mazda Gary's on the final lap here. Keegs is in the pit at lap 16. We're expecting Liam in, otherwise that'll be a slam dunk 30-second penalty for Liam, he's in the pit. So there we go. Yeah. He is in the pit, so he has listened, he has followed the rules. Welshie then gets that place from Keegs back, and yes, here we go. Final lap. Gary, champion's drive here.
Definitely. And very little of that inconsistencies. We see
that was Peaceful.
Was it? I thought it was a Ginetta.
Yeah, I saw Peaceful there as well. There he is.
Yeah,
so have him and Emo Guy.
Close together.
Have him and Emo Guy had a bit of a cuffle. They are close together on the standings, 9th and 10th. So I wonder what happened there. But
Yeah, I was just saying none of the inconsistencies that we saw last season in this race. I managed to go race 2 without a single spin. I haven't seen Gary make any mistakes this evening.
No.
Have you?
No.
Or not so far.
Not what we've seen of him. I haven't seen a mistake from Gary.
No, I think it's been a very, very, very strong, consistent race. Hats off. I thought it was an epic run.
Don't get cocky, Gary. You've still got to get around the banking first, mate. You don't want to.
Although he does take away my fan on a Thursday night.
He does take away your fan on a Thursday night. But Gary 131 then. He's going to win the 3rd round of the season. What a job he has done there. Mazda, his first podium of the year as well, a P2. What could have been for him?
This guy
man.
As well.
What a drive from this man. 2nd and 3rd at Spa. 3rd again here. 3 podiums in a row. Good job. If you're D Biggs and Little Each P4, take nothing away from their job. Stellar. Quiet. One of them races, Kelly, that you've just gone under the radar a little bit.
Yeah. I think, a bit of luck's come his way as well, which, helps us all. Solid race from D Biggs. But just let's have a look. One Merc in 2nd place. The next Merc down in 7th. Look at all the Porsches.
The Porsches really showing what they are capable of tonight. Little Each crosses the line P4. Solid drive for Little Each, and Dan comes home in 5th. Sutty crosses the line 6th. But is Monkey Boy close enough?
Already.
He has, yes. So Monkey Boy will take P6 away from Sutty. Rabbit Joe, his best finish in the Pro Group was 11th. It's now going to be a P8. He's got 38 seconds to Emo Guy. So that is a good job.
So that's comfortable.
Yeah, that's a good job if you're him. Andy down in 14th. The joys of Spa. Thankful for Jamie Brazier disconnecting so he can pick up 2 points. Not that with the catch of the reset button, not that that's going to do him any favours tonight. But Rabbit Joe, best finish in the Pro Series so far since his promotion last season, P11. He's going to cross the line here for a P8, so good job from him. Emo Guy crossed the line P9 with Peaceful Explosion coming P10. Who got the fastest lap? 44.4 for Mazda. That looks to be the one, doesn't it? Yeah, Mazda. Mazda takes the fastest lap of the race to go with his 2nd place. After Peaceful Explosion was Welshie with a P11. Keegs then took a P12 with that Bozzy Boy taking 13th and Andy coming home in 14th place. good first race, really, Kelly. Not much more to say about that one.
Absolutely. I think, as I say, this track has really thrown up some interesting results for sure. But cracking drive from Gary. I think that was epic. So yeah, congratulations to him. You game on for race 2, isn't it? The top 6 can't qualify. No, top 7 tonight, is it?
Yeah, top 7 cannot qualify. Yeah, so we'll be back in just a few moments where the top 7 can't qualify. Let's see how the others get on. See you in just a moment.
Yep.
You're the night sky trying to make me see your stars, but the dark gets lonely. Now I see violet, I can feel silence, and the dark's all that I see. When your stars are burnt out and your heart makes no sound, I'll find violet in your eyes. You'll always be my night sky.
Getting hype when I aim up, elevating that game up, stepping up to the competition. Only first place, and that's how I'm living. I'm with it till they digging up my grave, eating all the things up on my plate. Game face when I step up into place. I was born and when I watched me elevate. When I watch me elevate. I was born and when I watch me elevate. I was born and when I watch me elevate. When I watch me elevate. Yeah. All in when I show up. Whole place about to blow up. Superior to that competition. I'm in first place, yeah, that's how I'm living. I'm with it till they digging up my grave, eating all the things up on my plate. Game face when I step up into place. I was born and when I watched me elevate. I was born and when I watched me elevate. I was born and when I watched me elevate.
Broken dreams in my pocket, golden thing round my neck like a locket. Carve your name my mind because you caught it. You caught it. You're golden, golden. Honestly, you know it. Me under the street light at the young, so I could show you. You're golden, golden. Honestly, you're glowing. Me under the mezzanine, just so that I could show you. You're golden. Hey, you're golden. You're golden. Hey, you're golden. Golden. When we meet, hold my hand in the darkness. Summer heat, bodies laid on the carpet. Eye to eye, glistening. No, I saw it. I saw it. You're golden, golden. Honestly, you know it. Me under the street light at the young, so I could show you. You're golden, golden. Honestly, you're glowing. Me under the mezzanine, just so that I could show you. You're golden. Hey, you're golden. You're golden. Hey, you're golden. Golden. You're golden. Yeah, you're golden. You know it. Yeah, you're glowing. Golden. Golden, golden. Honestly, you know it. Me under the street or at the end, so I could show you. Golden, golden. Honestly, you know it. Me under the golden. Hey, you're golden. You're golden. Hey, you're golden. Golden. Hey.
Welcome back to Simplay Motorsport then. For round 4 of the season, we're going to get things underway. Mazda not wanting to come in for an interview, not sure why, but the people who cannot qualify for this race are Gary Little-Leach, Monkey Boy, Sooty Apex, D Biggs, Unorthodox, and Mazda himself. 7th and above cannot qualify for this race, as we had 15 starters in the first one. Big Boy Brazier back. Let's hope his Wi-Fi is sorted out. We're going to start with D Biggs. Dom, a bit of a quiet race for yourself, really. I can't really say a lot more about it.
No, it was but other than the first lap or two, just stuck with it. There was a bit of squabbling going on, and then I did my usual bin it by myself, and it was fairly quiet after that. Just kept consistent and banging the laps in. Yeah,
I mean, a bit fortunate maybe for the podium with Jamie Brazier's disconnection. I don't know what your pace was like in relation to Jamie. I don't know whether he was catching or not, but. Yeah, just a very steady night. Good pace, though, from the Porsche. In what we've said both last night and tonight, seems to be a very Mercedes-dominant track. You've proved that the Porsche has got the pace to run up there with the Mercedes.
Yeah, I think it's consistency. The Porsche is a very stable car, and if you can be consistent and patient with it, it works.
What's your plans going into race 2? Obviously, starting towards the back end of the grid again. Plough on through?
Yeah, again, the same as the first race, really. Keep out of trouble, see where we are by the end of lap 1 and go from there.
Well, best of luck, buddy.
Solid race, well done.
And obviously no Mazda in the chat, so we've got our race winner and 2-time champion, 2-time Constructors champion as well. There you go, Gary, got it in there for you. Great first race. Mazda kept you hot and pressured you like mad up until the pit stops, and you pulled a blinder of a strategy by doing the undercut effectively.
Yeah, well, I got my head down to start with and kind of kept the second gap. I'd gain on the infield, he'd gain from the bus stop round to the middle of the first corner. It weren't really no strategy. As I was coming up the traffic, thought we'll just put it in and then come out and get your head down again. But as Kelly found out last night after the pit stop, the car goes a bit squealy.
Yeah, it does.
A bit horrible then after the pit stop, but you gapped Mazda that little bit more through the pits. Was you surprised by that? Surprised he wasn't able to make that time up running longer, or?
I thought it was going to be tighter, to be fair, but thank God it weren't, because like I said, that was getting a handful to hold on to.
Yeah, but you
go on, Kelly.
No, sorry, I was just going to say you did a good job of it. It was a very solid race from what I saw. The Porsche is really quite well sorted, though, isn't it? I mean, yes, I agree with you. After the pit stop, it seems to go a little bit jelly on its tyres. But while you keep the tyres in that zone, it is kind of well planted, isn't it?
It is quite stable and does stick quite well. But I think I'm going to make a couple of little tweaks for this next race.
Was you surprised by your qualifying pace, Gary?
I was actually, to be fair. Last lap.
That was epic. Yeah.
No slipstream, I do believe, as well. Didn't seem to be much of a tow. Mazda was obviously getting the tow from yourself, and came into the pits on that final run. But yourself and Little each got a good flying lapping on that final run to get the pole. So, lights to flag. What can you do race 2?
Just try and pick through the traffic and keep all the wheels on. It would be a good start, I suppose.
in relation to Kelly last night. Well, best of luck, buddy. We'll let you get back to it. Good luck for the second race.
Good luck.
Cheers, mate. Thank you.
So, no Mazda in this interview. I'm sure if Mazda was here, he was saying, I don't know what he'd say, to be fair. It's Mazda. Could be anything. Qualifying then. Top 7 can't qualify. Kelly?
Yeah.
Who's your tip for pole?
I'm not going to say.
Mine's Keegs. Oh, Monkey Boy.
Is it?
Oh, wow. That is Jamie lagging under the circuit.
All over the shop there.
Wow.
I don't know if you saw it.
Yeah.
When they came out of the pits, I think these two are trying to do some slipstreaming type of affair. But Jamie lagged and then jumped right onto Liam as Liam just hits the wall and just spins it. Jamie's. I'll be surprised if Jamie goes the whole distance of this race without disconnecting. You know.
Now, look who's just put it on pole position. No grid penalty this time, but he's on the front row, as is Keegs and 2 Mercedes on first and second, followed by the Audis of Iron Blue Racing, third and fourth at the minute, with no other time from anybody else. Liam back in the pits. He's got time to get out the pits. How much did Liam struggle that lap? Yes, he's got the tow, but if Jamie's lagging all over the place, you kind of don't know where he is. You don't know what to expect, do you?
No, as I said, Jamie lagged and then dropped right on top of Liam when they were coming out just on their warm-up. So, I'll be, as I said, be amazed if Jamie makes the race. The distance of the race, the way he's lagging,
now,
which is a shame.
You look back to last season as well, Snetterton for Jamie, no points, which, yes, it was his drop score. But effectively, a few races with lag cost him the title last season. Already.
Could be, yeah.
He got the three-quarter
absolutely.
distance, scored the 1 point, but with the lag problems he's having, he's not going to want that if he's wanting to really seriously mount a championship fight. As I'm just going to quickly update the tables. That's the wrong group, that's Pro-Am. I'm going to quickly update the tables I've got sat right in front of me.
Yeah.
2 seconds.
So, Peaceful is currently quickest on a 44.7. So we'll see how he improves. Keegs in the other Merc that can qualify in second. We haven't seen Andy hasn't come out. Emo guy's come out now.
He's on track.
Fifth.
Andy's on track.
He's on track, is he? Yeah, absolutely right. Let's have a look, see how Andy's getting on, shall we? Had an absolute nightmare of race 1, but fortunes can change in race 2. I know that as well as anybody. So I don't know where Andy is. The cameraman can't seem to find him.
I think if he's changed your camera angle, Andy, I don't think he's moving then. Is Andy had an off eye? There he is at the bus stop. So wants to get a wiggle on if he's to get the. Is that the bus stop? No, that's sort of turn 1. I'm not sure where Andy is then. Hopefully
turn 1,
turn 1, just coming on
between the infield, isn't it?
Yeah, he is. So hopefully Andy can get our one back sorted. Then we'll come off him. There's Welshie hoping to get a bit more of a better run. Do you want the standings after round 3?
Yes, please.
D Biggs leads the title at the minute by 3 points from Gary, with Mazda up into second place. Jamie drops from first to fourth. Andy dropping down a couple of places, now tied with Unorthodox on 34 points. Monkey Boy then 10 points off the back of Dan at the minute on 24, tied with Little Each. Phil obviously not here tonight on 23 points after his good 23 points last week, so he won't change in the Acura if you didn't get that one.
Thought I'd get that in there.
Yeah, cheers bud. So he won't change from 23 points, he'll still be there. Obviously damage limitation in terms of that. Peaceful Explosion 22 points, Emo Guy down on 18, that Bozzy Boy's on 17 with Rabbit Joe 15, Keegs down on 14, Welshie 12 and Sutty obviously 9 because he didn't race last week. This week his first race. Keegs in the pits, has to get out pretty much now if he's going to make another lap. Big Boy Brazier was quickest in Sector 1. He's gone into the pit, so that one isn't going to happen for him. 2 tenths off the back of Peaceful, so an Audi splitting the 2 Mercs at the minute. That Bozzy Boy, no toe at the moment, but what is he going to do? Looking at his Delta, not up on his time through Sector 1, so he's not improving at the moment. While Liam finishes this lap, Shake and Bake have a 13-point lead over Leachy Legends in the Constructors, with Iron Brew Racing dropping down 1 place. Tied with Simplay Racing of Mazda and Keegso. Class of 97, 2 points off the back of Iron Brew and Simplay. GQ Motorsport on 46 with Run Flat Racing 32 and Straight Line Racing 27. There goes that Bozzy Boy backing out of this lap, and I tell you what, that's his next lap done, because you ain't getting a good run. You need that speed to go through, so Liam is pretty much done from there. If we're not getting Andy back, Andy's missed out on his reverse qualifying here. He's not going to start any higher than 15th place at the moment, so he's not going to get.
And he's still stuck there. Whatever's going on.
Yeah, he's not going to get that. He's moving now. No, he's moving now.
Moving now, yeah.
So hopefully he's going to get it.
What was that all about?
That's Jamie's lag. That's Jamie lagging. Yeah, look at it. Wow.
Look at it.
That is something
that's not good for people, is it?
No, it's not. I mean, wow, look at that. How you're. Yeah. Peaceful's gone into the pits then. He's backed out of his first lap. So Andy here is going to have to try and get the bus stop chicane right, get a good run out the bus stop chicane, and then getting a lap at least to get into that top 7, if you will. That Bozzy Boy is well in the pit, so he is done. How can you race against somebody who's got the lag connection like that? That is difficult to race against if you're these drivers.
Yeah, and we saw an incident last week where lagging was an issue. I'm not going into too much detail, but someone put an inquiry in for being hit, and it was all about lagging. But it's I don't know what really you can do about it. Do you know what I mean? It's one of those things, but it's not. Look, I mean, just smashed up the thing. He's all over the shop, and it's difficult to know where he's going to be, isn't it?
It is difficult to know.
Oh, see, an Emo guy's just been spun round. Now, was that because of lag?
Now, interesting one for me here. Sorry, I've just noticed something, Kelly. Rabbit Joe was able to qualify but hasn't.
Okay.
Interesting one. So, yeah, sorry, back to what you were saying.
Yeah, well, Emo Guy getting spun round just as Jamie Brazier was close to him. So, again, was that a lag issue? Yeah.
Yeah, we'll
Who
never
knows?
know. Emo Guy back in the pits then. Well, she was green Sector 1. Andy not setting a better Sector 1 time than what he did earlier, and he's all in the wall there. You can only assume the lap
that's the
will
end of
be
that.
better than a 5 minute 17, but it's not going to be pole. How far up the grid can he get? Jamie still lagging across the circuit like mad. Keegs then, not green in Sector 1, so he's not improving. What's he going to do Sector 2 wise? I think it's only him, Jamie and Andy still on a flying lap here, so we'll have to keep our eyes out for this one at the moment. So Rabbit Joe's really missed a trick as he's starting 13th now. Could have started a bit higher up the grid, and with his good first race one and finishing in that P8, really put himself in a position. I don't know if he thought he couldn't qualify for both, but either way he was able to qualify for this one. Keegs just clipping the wall.
Yeah, no one do him any good.
No, not green in Sector 2 either.
One, is it?
No improvement at all for Keegs. Andy green and green, no improvement for Jamie. Oh, he's backed out of it. He's backed out of it.
Yep,
so then,
indeed.
Peaceful Explosion, P1. There's no ruining it now. Big Boy Brazier will start P2. Keegs looks like he's going to get P3 and a bit of fortune going his way after an unlucky race one. Not sure what's happening with Andy then. Welshie then P6. That Bozzy Boy is going to be P4. Emo Guy P5 and Andy getting P7. There for qualifying. Peaceful Explosion, your man on pole. Little Leach will line up P8, obviously the first of the non-qualifiers from Monkey Boy P9. Gary 131 will start 10th, Unorthodox 11th, Master 12th, Rabbit Joe 13th, D-Biggs 14th, and Such the Apex P15. And I tell you what, Emo Guy spun on his own, he said in the chat, just looking at.
I just saw that.
If there's one guy, if there's one car you don't want to be in at the back of the grid, it's probably that Acora.
Yeah. Wow. Yes. So he who will not be named is going to line up first. I'm just not going to talk too much about him.
Now look at the interesting bit here. Merc Audi. Watch for Master from the back in his Mercedes. Watch from Gary in his Porsche. Good pace. Watch for D-Biggs as well. They all showed good pace in that first race. Let's see what can happen. Disco at Disco Face. Grabbing my popcorn for the start with that lag around. Oh, it could be interesting.
Yeah. You say you know the top racing and who's Welshie is the highest Porsche. That's because all the Porsches were so quick and in the top 7 in the first place.
Which we didn't really expect going into tonight, did we? We thought last night was
a great car, isn't it?
I mean, you said earlier in the night though, Kelly. You know, we get to see what the proper setups can do now on the Mercedes Benz, and that kind of went. Absolutely. I'll slap you across the face. This Porsche is better than what you're making out. Stop chatting rubbish about it.
Well, you started it.
Well, I think everybody expected it, to be fair. I don't think anybody expected it to be so good.
I mean, I'm extremely happy about the Porsche being as good as it is. You know, did me great favours, but then I'm a Porsche fan anyway. So
now,
you know,
we said earlier one person was taking their double points now. Do you want to know who it is?
Oh yeah, that'd be nice. Yeah.
Peaceful Explosion.
Oh no! I wish you hadn't told me that.
If there was points for qualifying, he'd be right up there. Good double points, a first and a fourth, brilliant, bang. Yeah. Sorry, Peaceful.
Let's hope it pans out for him, please.
Yeah, bless him. Let's see what happens here then as we are rolling now. We are about to get underway. I hate the way the rolling start happens because look, Jamie's kind of gone a mile in front. Now Peaceful will catch him up. Keegs is nowhere next to Liam. They all sort of, the inner line sort of are a bit further back than the outer line as they all sort of match up now, and we go here for Daytona round 4, final race of the evening and of the week here at Simplay Motorsport. And Peaceful looks already like he's getting into turn 1 pretty easy. Bit of a tap and a rub from Jamie. That looks like, it's just all over the place at the minute. Keegs in third, Liam slotting in fourth, side by side with one of the Ginettas. Not sure what happened a bit further back. As the Emo Guy has lost. Gary's already up to 6th. D-Big's already up to 7th.
Yes, indeed. Cracking start for those guys. Crackers already. So we'll see how the Porsches can cut through the traffic. But Peace was up and away. And if it was me, I'd be wanting to stay well away from Jamie Brazier with that lag going on. He couldn't be anywhere on the track. but he's chasing Peaceful down. And Keegs in there as well. Those top three beginning to pull a little bit of a gap from the rest of them. Who's that? That's Liam in fourth, Liam. Isn't it?
Yeah.
Liam having a nosebleed being up that high in the race, so bless him. But let's see how he gets on. But these Jamie again doing bunny hops all the way down.
Yeah, the bunny hops is the kind of that's the lag that's causing it to bounce on the oval part of the track. 21 people watching, guys, hit that thumbs up button and subscribe to the channel if you are new. The top three have pulled a gap to that Bozzy boy, who's got Gary at the end of lap 1, has gone from by the back of the grid to P5. He is flew at the start. Emo Guy and Andy have dropped down to 13th and 14th. Well, she's down to 15th as well. Master's made some progression up to 8th. Where's Sutty? He's only got past the two Ginettas and Welshie. He's only up then into 12th place. But look at Gary's. He's going to now try and close on the back of that Bozzy boy for P4. Great opening lap from him and D-Biggs.
Yes, indeed. Him and D-Biggs absolutely flying in those Porsche. Where's Dan? Only in 11th at the moment. He hasn't had that a good start. Look, Gary's going to go all the way round. Is he going to make that? Yes, he has made that stick. There's not too many people who've done that. So, when you get that inside line, you can usually hold on to it. But Gary making quick work of Liam and now can go after the leaders. So Gary with a really good chance of a double win here at the moment.
Emo's in the pit, so don't forget he's going to have to pit again in this race. And as is Welshie then.
Keegs in front of Jamie.
So he's managed to pass him with all that lag. He's just in front of this little the battle between Gary and Liam. So there they are, just in front. Liam trying to stick with Gary here. So Gary not dropping Liam just yet, but that Porsche looked mighty quick on the oval part of the track. But the two Mercedes now out front. Watch Keegs then drop that Big Boy Brazier on the oval section. Here's a man though, D-Biggs, separated, in the middle of a Mercedes sandwich. Not the same team, GQ Motorsport and Simplay Racing behind him, but Master already up to 8th as well on his first lap. He's already hunting down the Porsche. Now let's see the difference in speed here between Porsche and Mercedes. Porsche's got a slipstream, Master's got a double toe. Let's see what can happen.
Yes, indeed, and was kind of catching and then just kind of levelled out, didn't it? Didn't kind of hit the maximum speed, and that was that, really. I
think here's the run that Mazda wanted, look. This is the run.
Yeah, he's right in that slip now.
Oh, Big Boy Brazier up front has got back ahead of Keegs, but we're going to stay with this for a second here, just to see Mazda coming down to turn 1. Now, what you did last night brilliantly, Kelly, was guard that inside line into turn 1 and make the Merc go the long way around. Now, unless Mazda's got the cojones like Gary has, which, I mean, looking at this Mercedes, he possibly has got the legs on the Porsche. Can he get around the outside of it? This is going to be the interesting one to keep our eyes on. Look for D-Biggs up the inside. Oh, they're still side by side. Oh no, they're not now. Master tucks back in. Again, the Porsche, brilliant work there.
Yeah, that, as I said, that turn 1 is easy to defend, but you need to be on the inside and hug that inside all the way down that last bit of oval. And it's quite easy to defend then when you get into turn 1, as D-Biggs has just proven.
It is indeed. Monkey Boy getting on the back of that Bozzy boy. Gary's on the back of Keegs as Jamie Brazier is back in front. And I wonder if Keegs is just struggling to overtake that Audi a little bit. Big Peaceful Explosion out front has gapped them already. Keegs very deep. We've lost a driver. We've lost Emo Guy from this race. So Emo Guy will not score a single point in this one. Gary's got Keegs.
Gary's in front. Yeah, he got him just on that corner and managed to get in front of him. Gary flashing his lights. And Jamie bouncing again all over the place. Hard to know where to go, isn't it, when you're...
Keegs is having a look at... Oh, no. Oh, I didn't know what to make of that. I thought Keegs was having a look up the inside of Gary, but Jamie with his lag all over the place and really is...
Picking up dust as well.
Yeah, he's really struggling. Peaceful, though, he's 2 seconds out in front, so he's already gapped these guys. Keegs now trying to stay in that slipstream with Gary, and just look at Jamie's Audi all over the place.
Yeah, let's say it's difficult to know where to go when that's happening in front of you, isn't it? Very, very off-putting.
It is indeed. Now then, Sutty down to 13th. He's lost out to Andy. There is only 14 drivers left in this race.
Like Gary's going to go right round the outside again. Sorry, Matt, to talk over you.
No,
but
he's fine.
He's gone right round the outside, and Keegs is going with him as well, by the looks of it.
Is Keegs going to try and follow Gary through? Jamie with trying to keep that inside line. Onto the grass. He's lost the car into the wall. We should see Keegs fly past. There goes Keegs and Monkey Boy and D Biggs has got past that Buzzy Boy. D Biggs has now got past Monkey Boy on the standings as well. So what has happened to Monkey Boy and that Buzzy Boy losing out? Well, Monkey Boy's kind of stayed P6. Mazda's now got past Liam. In fact, they're side by side having a bit of a battle on their own. Now, what damage does Jamie have to that inside? Now, what has happened to Liam? Him and Monkey Boy have dropped down to 9th and 10th. Maybe an incident happening there, but Liam down to P10 with Monkey Boy in P9 just ahead of him. They was running up 4th and 5th a minute ago. They're not, 5th and 6th a minute ago. They're not now. D Biggs, sorry, that's Unorthodox, apologies, on the back of Little Each. I thought it was Biggs on the back of Gary there, but D Biggs on the Unorthodox on the back of Little Each, as you see Mazda running a bit deep coming onto the oval, and it's easy to run deep on that corner, isn't it?
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely. And looks like Dan's got... No, he hasn't. He's still behind Little Leach. I don't know about you, Matt. I was expecting a little bit more from Mazda. No disrespect, of course, at all. But
you're right.
I was just expecting him to be a little bit quicker this evening. I know he was in a fight for the win, but I just expected him to be just right up there. You know,
he sort of had good pace without having exceptional pace, hasn't he?
Yeah, absolutely.
As we say,
I mean, he's catching D Biggs now. Have we lost Jamie? Oh yeah, no, of course he had.
We've lost Emo. We've lost Emo.
Yeah, Jamie's gone right down to 11th, though, hasn't he? Yeah.
Oh, so what has happened to Jamie? Has he had a spin somewhere? But that's promoted D Biggs and Mazda to 4th and 5th. Little Leach and Dan up into 6th and 7th, and Monkey Boy, that Buzzy Boy, and Rabbit Joe up a place as well. Mazda now really starting to catch on D Biggs. Now, D Biggs didn't say he had the pace of the front two in terms of Mazda and Gary in race one. So are we going to see the old switcheroony from Mazda and D Biggs here? Mazda getting past maybe a bit easier, as there's Dan and Little Each side by side in the background then, and Dan has that job done. Jamie's coming to the pits. We are on lap 5. So the pit, no, Jamie will be on lap 4. If you go on Jamie, it'll say lap 4, I do believe. No, it says lap 5, but he's crossed the line, so he's entered the pits lap 4. Jamie's going to have to pit again. Oh, who have we lost now? We've lost Andy. So the Ginettas aren't going to score a point in this second race.
That's unfortunate, isn't it? What a shame after they had such a good showing at Spa. Neither are going to score points. That's going to be devastating for their constructors thing, but they can take as their drop score, I suppose, can't they?
Yeah, exactly, they can. Jamie's got to pit again as he's pitted at the end of lap 4, not at the end of lap 5. The pit window opens at the start of lap 5, but you've got to cross the line to get on it, so Jamie's got to pit again, so his race has gone from bad to worse. Mazda now, though, look at that yellow and green Mercedes-Benz really starting to gain on D Biggs into the bus stop. I think Mazda may settle behind him for this moment in time. Where's Keegs gone? Keegs has dropped to 7th.
What's happened to Keegs then?
So he's had a moment. He was running P3. He's had a moment somewhere and has fell down to P7. No, we didn't see it. What a shame, because Keegs was running well in P3. Now let's see if Mazda can keep that form going and keep that run on D Biggs. Here he comes down towards the start line, round the final bend of the oval section, and look at how he gains on Biggs. But Biggs can cover the inside line, easy as you like. And Mazda can't do nothing about it. He's got to go the long way around. If Mazda's got to make this work, Kelly, he's got to do what Kieran didn't last night, and that's go around the outside. And in fact, he's done that. Wow, great move.
That was a brave cut back in from Mazda. He was only just clear.
He was only just clear, but just enough to get past him and get that move done. Now he hunts down Gary again for the second time tonight. P3 then, so a good performance from Mazda at the minute. 2 podiums tonight. If it stays this way, we are on lap 6 or 17. You've got to get to lap 14 before you score points. Touch the apex into the pits at the end of lap 5. So he is the first man to complete his mandatory pit stop. And the Acura is going to score at least points for 13th place, which is 3. So all in all, good night. We've not seen much of Sutty tonight. Look at it.
No, maybe I've been staying off it for a reason.
Oh, right. I wonder why that might be.
Not at all. What an ugly car, isn't it? Look at it, terrible looking thing, isn't it? You know, it's oh god, it offends me looking at it.
It's got the thumbs up of approval. It's got the thumbs up of approval on the roof of it, though. That's the best thing about it.
Yeah, but hey,
D Biggs has got Mazda on the timing screens.
Oh look, they're side by side again, isn't it? Going for it again, and D Biggs. Well, I was going to say he'd have to back out that one, but he certainly ain't. They're going side by side through the bus stop. That's brave.
Oh, they've leaned on each other. They tab. And I'm not sure whose fault there. Mazda may have to pit now for damage to his Mercedes. Hit the wall very, very hard. And D Biggs as well has lost out massively. That's Liam coming through. And Rabbit Joe as well is going to get through there. D Biggs looks like he's already away. But not really. Couldn't really. I didn't have the right angle to see there what was happened.
Was D Biggs a little bit out and over the what could be deemed as track limit? Who's to say? Was it a racing incident?
Master's coming in.
Yeah, was D Biggs already got his nose well in front of Mazda? Should have Mazda backed out? Who knows? That's not for us to decide. We are here just to comment. So
I'm sure,
but as you say,
the stewards may take a look at that one at the end of it.
So Little Leach all over the back of Dan. Dan's made it up into third place. Dan having one of those kind of quiet races, wasn't he?
Yeah.
And D Biggs has dropped back, hasn't he? Has he got damage?
He's just had the incident, hasn't he, with Mazda? Had a bit of a spin with Mazda.
Yeah, but he got off of it. He got out of it.
Well, we didn't see the extent of his spin, did we? He stayed ahead of Liam. He stayed ahead of Liam and Joe, whereas Mazda dropped behind Liam and Joe. Joe's also got past Liam. So D Biggs then, what recovery can he do? Let's keep an eye on that. Little Leach staying to the back of Dan quite well here, and Gary's within 9/10 of the leader now. So Gary's been chipping away at that lead as Mazda now comes out the pits behind Sutty Apex. So he's all the way down in P11 ahead of Jamie and Welsh. You don't forget Jamie's still got to pit, and here's Gary. I don't know what setup Gary's got on that Porsche, but it looks mighty.
Absolutely. So both the Leach brothers attacking, and Little Leach on Orthodubs and Gary on Peaceful, but they're both attacking really hard. So Porsche is in the top four. Three of them in the top four.
Yeah.
Only a Merc out in front at the moment, but Gary's trying to put pay to that. That's for certain sure.
It is for certain sure, and Little Leach here having a good run on Unorthodox. And has he got the same setup as his older brother Gary? He's going to go around the outside of Unorthodox and can't get that. Oh, I don't know. He's going to try and stick it around there. No, tucks back in now, so can't get that one done. Unfortunately, Gary. Oh, Peaceful! What's happened to Peaceful?
I don't know. I just flicked over because I saw Gary go in front of Peaceful, but Peaceful's obviously lost it into turn one and got damage as well. So, that's disastrous for Peaceful. I didn't even mention his name. Not my fault this time. Not my fault.
I don't think we have mentioned his name, but Gary catching him. I think that's the only time we said about it. Did him and Gary have a bit of a incident? Well, we're unsure, but it's Porsche 1, 2, 3 at the minute. D Biggs into the pit, so whatever damage he may have had, he's in and out, stays in front of Sutty and Mazda. So there's now a car between D Biggs and Mazda. Peaceful has got to limp back to the pits if he's got damage. What a shame. But this is now Little Leach on Unorthodox for P2 in this race. And we are down to 13 runners. Liam's got ahead of Monkey Boy, so has Rabbit Joe. So what has happened to that Mercedes as well? Not the night so far. Mazda 10 seconds behind Sutty 12 off the back of D Biggs.
Yes, indeed. So it's 1, 2, 3 for the aging Beetle, and Mercedes. Who? Sorry.
Well,
again, is it going to be another Porsche win? And it could be a whole Porsche podium.
It's been a huge slap on the face for all of us tonight who thought that Mercedes, tonight and last night, who thought that Mercedes was going to be the car to be in. Gary's pace is in the 44s. He's really flying at the moment and so far doing the job he needs to do. Dan having a little flash of the lights, not sure why here. Is that to indicate that he's dropping low and going into the pit? So Dan's going to come in at the end of lap 8.
Gary as well.
Oh, Gary looked like he had damage on the front of his car. I wonder then, has Gary and Peaceful had a coming together? Gary,
could be. Look, how long is he going to be in there?
Well, this is the question.
Not that long.
No, he's away. Well, what do we know? Peaceful Explosion as well comes into the pits at the end of lap 8 for his stop. Rabbit Joe's up into 3rd. Liam up into 4th. They are both yet to pit. Gary, though, is now ahead of Dan in terms of the pit stops. That is job done. Peaceful, Unorthodox looks like he's on his way out, so he's just past Peaceful. Where will D Biggs and Sutty and Mazda come in terms of these three? Unorthodox on his way out. Yeah, he's just warming his tyres up. D Biggs has passed Peaceful and has passed Dan. So I don't think Sutty's going to have passed Dan or Peaceful yet, but Little Leach leads this race from Keegs, from Rabbit Joe, from this man Liam Game, that Bozzy Boy. Liam Game is his old PSN. Why do I keep doing that? I lost it. Gary got caught up. There we go then. Peaceful in the chat. He's lost it into turn 1 and Gary's got caught up in it. What a shame. And we saw last night with Fury, the Merc didn't look great into turn 1, did it?
No, it didn't. It seemed to be wide at the apex for most. I say most people's hands. There was only 2 Mercs last night, but it seems to be, where the Merc seems to be brilliant through the bus stop chicane. It seems to be poor in turn 1. So swings and roundabouts. Michael, Peaceful saying, why do I keep doing that? Because you need a Porsche. That's why. If you had a Porsche, it wouldn't happen. So there you go. Porsche, what a brilliant car. I'll tell you what, Matt, it's going to be very interesting when we get, and it's a long, long way away, but it'll be very interesting when we get to Monza, that we know as a classic power track.
Yeah.
And just to see how good the Porsches are there, and through the rest of the season. It's not quite as clear as we thought it was.
Here goes Monkey Boy. I completely agree with you. Monkey Boy gets the job done on that Bozzy Boy. The Audi doesn't seem to have what the Porsche and the Merc does it tonight? It's just not looked great. Rabbit Joe up on the podium at the minute in the Pro Series, yet to pit obviously as well. What's happened to Monkey Boy turn 1? Liam is back in front of that Mercedes-Benz. So is that Merc struggling in turn 1? Because Liam back in front.
I don't know. Yeah, I should have stayed on board with that one. So I'd like to see how Liam done that.
No damage seems to be had, but the Merc losing out. Is it just that struggling that much into turn 1 that Liam was just able to get back up the inside? Either way, we've got Little Each out in front, Keeg 2nd, Rabbit Joe 3rd, That Bozzy Boy 4th, Monkey Boy in 5th, Gary's P6, but obviously he's the leader of the guys that have pitted. All these cars haven't pitted yet. D-Biggs is 7th, Unorthodox is 8th, Sutty in 9th with Mazda charging on him in P10 after his incident with D-Biggs. Peaceful's down in 11th after leading for majority of this race. Big Boy Brazier, early pit stop, but a lap too early. He's got to pit again down in 12th, and Welshie not yet been in the pits. Has pitted, but pitted too early as well. He's got to pit down in 13th.
So much. Sorry, go on.
I was about to say, Gary, 25 seconds off the leader, looks to pretty much get that race lead back. D-Biggs further 10 seconds behind Gary. It's going to be interesting to see where Little Each and Keegs especially come out in relation to D-Biggs. Whether they're in front, whether they're behind. It's going to be a very fascinating one to keep our eyes on and to see what's going to happen here. Keegs is bringing that gap down to Little Each at this moment in time, so let's keep our eyes on that battle. That's within a second now, but look at the Audi. The Audi has got nothing on the oval.
No, it hasn't. And just Monkey Boy just breezes right past.
Yeah, let's keep on it though, Kelly, into turn 1 and see if Liam can get this back. Tucks into the slipstream, fights it. It's going to call us a liar here, and it's going to absolutely nail turn 1.
Yeah, no, look, Liam does come right back up under braking. He hasn't been managed to get back in front of Monkey Boy that time, but see how he caught up on under brakes.
Yeah.
Look. So much more
I think
the
infield, the Audi looks a bit stronger than the Mercedes-Benz, whereas the Mercedes has the legs on the oval. Look at Liam here, really trying to hassle the back of that Mercedes. You've got 2 braking points really to get past it again, and you see the Audi just gaining under braking here into the corners, keeps the apex a bit tighter than the Mercedes. Whereas the Mercedes, he's lost it! Liam on the power a bit too early. What a shame for him, because he was running quite nicely there. Go on.
Even Haley over my shoulder had a sigh as poor old Liam drops it. Never mind.
He keeps going to fight another day. Rabbit Joe kind of in no man's land as the leaders out front, all within a second. Keegs and Little Each doing what it's kind of Leachy Legends versus Simplay Racing. Round 2, isn't it? Round 2, race 2. It's the 2 out front. And Little Each doing to Keegs what Gary did to Mazda.
It seems like that's what happens round here, doesn't it? Race 1 last night was Fury on Nicky.
Fury on Nicky, and yourself and Kieran.
Merc versus Porsche, Merc versus Porsche, and look at it, reeling him in, look. And again, here we go, look. The Porsche stays. Although
he's a bit wide. Is Little Each. Keegs looked very nicely through there. Yeah, he does well.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, it looks a bit twitchy. Does the old Porsche there? As Keegs has ran a bit deep himself, just as Craig ran a bit, Little Each ran a bit deep. Keegs ran deep himself into that corner then.
very easy to follow the guy in front of you into an accident, isn't it? And that's, I mean, that's classic kind of motorsport stuff all the way through. Very easy. You focus so hard on the car in front of you, and they make a mistake, you just follow them in to that same mistake. I've done it time and time again, and you know, I'm sure everyone has at some point.
What I'll say here, though, Kelly, is Keegs looks a bit closer to Little Leach in terms of getting onto that oval and having a good sort of run at him. Keegs looks a lot closer to him than he has done for a couple of laps here. Now, we expect Gary to get past Little Leach and Keegs in terms of his pit stop. That gap is 21 seconds. It's the D Biggs gap that we're looking at in terms of 34 seconds between these two and D Biggs when these guys decide to pit. What that gap is actually going to be. Here goes Keegs then. Mazda still 4 seconds off the back of Sutter. He's not catching him as quick as we see. And Keegs having to brake a bit early there because of the bus stop. And you just see him just kind of hesitant on the throttle to get back on the power because he didn't seem to take the cleanest of lines through there.
No, Little Leach was better through there. That time round for sure, because he'd done all the gaining and he needed just that. If that bus stop chicane wasn't there, he would have done him down that straight. And Little Leach saying that he's coming into the pits. That's polite. So much politeness in pro, isn't there?
Very strange to see all this politeness. Where's all the gloves off and everything else? Now, the question I've just asked about where will they come out in relation to D Biggs, we're going to find out now as Little Leach pits then. Keegs leads, Rabbit Joe's up into second. That will release Monkey Boy into third. Gary should go fourth, depending on if that... Oh, no, Monkey Boy won't, because Monkey Boy himself has came into the pits at the end of lap 12 himself. So let's see. Monkey Boy, I reckon, will get passed by D Biggs. It's Little Leach, I don't think, who will. D Biggs coming around now. There's the pit entry line. You can see the white line there to signal the pit entry, and Little Leach is coming out. So Little Leach, I think, has done him.
Touch and go, and it looks like he has, hasn't he? Because D Biggs goes over the start-finish line, and D Biggs is there, and Little Leach is just exiting now. So we're expecting Keegs to be around the same as Little Leach, then possibly. They were in the same zone, weren't they? So Keegs needs a little bit more if he's going to want to jump D Biggs. He should about the same. But if he wants to jump Little Leach, he's going to have to. He's going to have to get his foot down as Little Leach goes deep. Might be that Porsche not so great. I do think if you get the Porsche, the tyres in the right place with the Porsche, any change to that then makes the tyres go off, is my theory. Do you know what I mean? So you're kind of doing consistent lap times, keeping your tyres in the same zone and not spinning and not going on the grass and stuff like that. But then when you cool the tyres off a little bit, it seems to have a slightly different characteristic after you've pitted. And, you know, I'm hoping the Porsche boys kind of back me up on this one, but that's what I'm seeming to find. That when everything's green and in the right temperature, the Porsche will just go on and on and on. As soon as you change, that canvas temperature, seems to make it, different in my opinion.
Yeah, completely agree with what you're saying there. As Rabbit Joe comes into the pits at the end of lap 13, that will release Gary into second place. When are we going to see who's left to pit here then? Liam, Jamie's got to pit again, Welshie and Keegs all having to pit. Don't forget, Jamie can't pit the same lap as Liam then. And Liam hasn't pitted this lap, as I imagine I think he's just gone past Joe. Yep, so has Little Leach. So where's Joe going to come out in relation? Joe has actually came out ahead of D Biggs. Liam running a bit deep into turn one. Will that allow Little Leach through? No, he's fighting it. There's Joe. Now, has D Biggs had a moment? Because I didn't think Joe would come out ahead of D Biggs, but he has.
Yep. And Dan has pulled up to the back of D Biggs as well. So maybe Dom's had a bit of a half moment or something. Do you know what I mean? Something that's hampered his progress.
Yeah, just slowed him down a little bit. Mazda really is not making
Rabbit Joe having a very solid race. We said about his what did he have, an 8th in the first one? His best result?
Yeah, had an 8th, his best result in the Pro. He took his double points here last year in the Pro-Am, so clearly in the Porsche as well. So likes the circuit, and he's really obviously proving that here. Liam likes this circuit as well, but hasn't got to grips with it as much in the Audi that he's learning this year. Although he's 4th, he's still got to pit, so we're expecting him to drop down the order quite significantly. Although that... Look, I don't know, Little Leach looked like he was a bit slow there for a second, but no, Liam, he's still got to pit. I was just saying before you said about Joe, Mazda hasn't even caught up to Sutty yet.
No.
He's struggling in that Merc. Keegs is in.
I wonder if he made any changes in the break.
Possibly. It's not worked, if that is the case. Welch is in as well.
Absolutely. And I wonder if that's why, because where's his pace gone?
Yeah, exactly. Running in the 46 are slower than Peaceful. In fact, he is... I don't know, he's 1.8 quicker than Sutty. Gary then should take the lead of this race. I think Keegs, may jump Little Leach. Has he jumped Little Leach here? Liam sticking with Little Leach really well, to be fair. Liam going great guns at the minute. Now, him and Jamie both still have to pit. Where's Keegs? There. So, no, Little Leach has jumped him, but I don't think he's done Biggs. I don't even think Keegs has done Joe. He hasn't. He's not done Joe. He's going to be touch and go to jump in D Biggs. Is he going to get Biggs?
Biggs
no.
going down the inside. Oh, and they have a moment. Dan's going to get caught up in that. Oh, no.
Biggs just losing the rear.
That as well.
And when you thought Dan could have capitalised, Biggs' car come around the front of Keegs' and into Dan's. Hard to say. Mistake from D Biggs. Nobody's fault other than a mistake from Biggs has cost him that time. So it's Gev Keegs the place back. Joe has jumped Keegs. So cracking drive from Joe. The two Ironborough Racing
Joe
boys.
Put this on the podium.
Now that would be a story, wouldn't it? Let's be honest.
Yep.
That would be a story. Liam and Jamie, the only two left to pit here, and only have this lap or the next lap to do so. Liam currently third, but he's going to drop at least behind Monkey Boy, in maybe Sutty and Mazda after the pits. We're not quite sure just yet, so I'll have to see what Liam can do.
Daniel's done D Biggs. He's got in front of him, and I don't know if D Biggs let him go, got damage or something, or let him go.
Is Big struggling because he's dropped well back here as well. He's not just dropped a little bit back, he's dropped quite a way back. So is he struggling?
He got damage?
I wonder. Maybe not the race 2 like he had in race 1. I tell you, it is good for, though, at the minute. The Leachy Legends, 1-2 so far in this race. What a job they've done. Here comes Dan then.
For sure.
Gaining on Keegs massively here. Jamie is gaining on the back of Peaceful, but don't forget Jamie's got to pit again. And Liam's not pitting this lap. He's gone past pit entry, so Jamie's got to pit this lap. Otherwise, Liam's got to pit lap 16. Jamie's got to pit the end of lap 15. Surely, otherwise they'll both. One of them. Well, Jamie's technically pitted, so he won't get disqualified from the game, but will face the penalty of 30 seconds.
Look at these guys aren't far short off Rabbit Joe either, are they?
No.
Do you know what I mean? It's still really, really close.
What have we got? Liam's the car at the front of this train. He's got to pit, so he's kind of not in this fight. But then you've got Joe, Keegs and Dan all battling it out. D-Biggs has dropped 3 seconds off the back of this pack. Look at the Porsche on the infield, Kelly. Really superior over the Merc.
Yes, indeed. And that's Rabbit Joe just in front, tucked in behind Liam. These are all in very close company at the moment. As we said, Liam's got to pit. D Biggs dropping back now. I think he's carrying damage. But come on, Rabbit Joe. Let's see. I'd love to see him put this on the podium.
How good would I think we said last week when Liam had that good second race and he came just short of a podium. I think he got a 5th. Just short of a podium, and we was like, how good would a podium be for Liam? How good a podium would be for Rabbit Joe? We know Monkey Boy's on pro pace, but these two, Joe and Liam, have had to really work. Season 1 on the pad, Season 2 learning the wheel, to now being in the pro group and battling it at the front of the pro group. Keegs really catching Joe through the bus stop chicane, and he's really on the back of him now. Look at the run Keegs gets. He switches on Joe and sells in the dummy that Kieran couldn't sell Kelly. And now Joe on the high side, he's not going to lose 1, but he's going to lose 2 places. Jamie didn't pit, so the interesting thing, look at Dan on the bumper of Keegs, drafting him down the straight.
He's not done yet.
He's not done yet. Liam has to dive to the pits. There he goes. Lap 16 again for Liam. Jamie could face penalty here for not pitting. Look at these 3. Dan can't cut. Joe's in the wall.
Joe.
I think he tried to avoid Dan trying to come back. Dan obviously didn't come that far out. Joe obviously not realising.
A little bit.
Yeah, it was a bit. It did seem a bit of an overreaction, didn't it?
Yes, indeed. So Dan could still put this on the podium as well.
Dan could put this on the podium, as could Keegs. Yet to have a win at Simplay as Keegs, but could put it on the podium. Liam has dropped down to 10th. Mazda's now on the back of Sutty. Gary, 6 seconds up the road from this, is leading this one on the final lap. Liam's not yet out of the pits. It's horrible, isn't it? Liam down behind Peaceful. Jamie's not pitted. Jamie... just jump to Jamie a second for me. Let's see where Jamie is on track. Liam's now out the pitch. Jamie's coming in. So Jamie is in. So the team have worked it well to get Jamie in then. So he doesn't face time penalty in this one. Oh, Keegs is deep.
Yep, Keegs is deep. Dan was all over the... Oh,
He's got him.
Keegs,
I think Keegs had a bit of a wiggle coming out of the corner, and Dan has got that one done. But Gary is once again flying. He is the man who's been on a mission, Mr. 2 times. Not the spar he wanted to be only 21 points, but he's going to take 25 and 25 here. Little Each, a stellar job. Guys, driver of the day, get it in the chat now who you think the driver of the day is. Me and Kelly will do ours after this race. But the battle between Keegs and Dan continues. I think we're going to have to just change to Gary.
Oh yeah, I was just about to go to that because he's coming round the last corner.
He's slowed down slightly. Is he slowing down?
Looks like it, yeah. Is he?
He's
going
not
for
out of fuel,
finish?
is he? He's not out of fuel. It's a bit tight to be going for a photo finish, Gary.
Where's me?
No, he's got plenty of fuel. He's at quarter throttle. Here comes Little Each. Is Little Each going to take the win? No, Gary gets it. Little Each will get second. Dan is going to get third in that Porsche. Porsche 1, 2, 3. Keegs will take a P4. Just couldn't get that podium in the end. No. What happened to Keegs? Rabbit Joe gets the P4.
Crash, look.
D Biggs.
Damage.
D Biggs will get 5th place. Monkey Boy will cross the line in P6. Keegs finishes 7th. What happened to Keegs there then in the end? Mazda and Peaceful both got sooty, so Mazda will get 8th. Not the round, not second race Mazda would have hoped for. Then Peaceful on double points, a 10th and a 9th. I'm sure he'll be gutted with that one. Sooty Apex, a 7th and a 10th. Hey, it's not bad points for a car that's not meant to be doing anything around this circuit. That Bozzy Boy, his strategy and pace didn't seem to work out tonight. An 11th place for him. Big Boy Brazier, not yet finished. Oh, look at the lag. His car's below the circuit and now is thinks it's Bugs Bunny. I'll tell you what, don't disconnect yet, Jamie. Well, she'll get P12 here. Jamie got to finish across the line.
Look at the state of that. Welshie, look. Oh no, hang on, driver's door's okay, the rest is scrap.
Big Boy Brazen will cross the line at P12. Welshie will get 13th. Just looking at the comments in the stream, Gary, no question, says disco face. Not seeing what else there. Yeah, not seeing what else there. Gary then, fastest lap of the race, 47.62. Sorry, 44.762. Yeah, Gary, fastest lap of the race. So good points. We'll take that fastest lap point as well as the 25 points for the championship lead. So all in all, Kelly, good night if you're Gary and Craig in terms of the constructors and the drivers.
I think it's been a great week, Matt. Do you know what I mean? I think Daytona Road has done some great give us some great racing. I really do, and some great strategy.
I couldn't agree more with you there. To be fair, I think it's been
very good.
It's just been fascinating racing strategies that we've not seen. In terms of the Mercedes was meant to be the quicker car, and then others didn't really seem to have the pace or to have what we expected in terms of the Mercedes not having what we thought they would have.
No, and look, Porsche. First Merc is Monkey Boy in sixth. Top 5 all Porsches. So I think Daytona Road we kind of had a preconception of what was going to happen, and it didn't. And I think for that reason, it's thrown up some great results this evening. So with that in mind, who's your driver of the day?
I can't look any further than Gary 131. Can't look any further.
Yeah, I totally agree. 2 out of 2. Class of the field this evening, in a spot of his own. I think we've got to take our hats off to got an honourable mention to Rabbit Joe, and a good meeting for him. Getting the hang of it. Got to have a shout out to Dan as well, because he came from nowhere to put that on a podium.
Well, hang on a second, Dan in the chat. I'm sorry, Keegs, my bad.
My bad. So, Dan's just joined us in the group. We'll have a look at that. D Biggs, another solid round. He looks like he had a couple of mistakes, but and what could have been for Peaceful and what could have been for Liam, really. But
Mazda. What could have been for Mazda as well? Not the night
totally.
that Mazda would have wanted. Now, obviously, I'll just quickly run you through the tables before the drop scores take effect, which will be worked out after the stream. But leading the championship, well, who other than Gary 131? He's on top again, 12 points clear of D Biggs in second place. And come on, guys, you can't make it a third title in a row. D Biggs in second, Dan in third place. Mazda's fourth ahead of Little Leach in P5. 29 points separate the two teammates, with Jamie in sixth place. Peaceful Explosion, double points, not the way he'd have wanted to take them though, down in P7. Andy then is in 8 after scoring no points in this second race. Monkey Boy down in 9th. Rabbit Joe's gone up to 10th place in the standing, so a good night from him. Phil stays P11 in the Acura. So not a bad night. Say he's not raced tonight. He's managed to keep the 23 points. Keegs tied with him in P12. Liam Gamer drops down to 13th place ahead of Emo Guy in 14th. Welshie in 15th. And Sutty Apex tied but 16th place. The constructors looks like this. Leachy Legends lead by 7 points from Shake and Bake. Simplay Racing up into P3. 46 off the title lead already. GQ Motorsport 47 off the leaders. Iron Brew Racing dropped down to mid-pack. Class of 97 then in 6th. Straight Line Racing in 8th, and Run Flat Racing of the Acura bottom of the pile. But don't worry, Acura, there's races to come. Daniel, what happened?
Yeah, basically the bus stop, Keeks, I don't know if he cut the grass or not. It looked to me like he did cut the final part of the corner, and already it was kind of frustrating me that he had the run. And also, I was on the banking. I knew the Mercedes is more powerful in a straight line. I saw him come in. I went to defend for as long as I possibly could, and then I just left it too late. Made contact with Keegs, and I think I've pushed him off. So, if Keegs, if there is, if I did make contact, mate, I apologise and I take full blame. I need to look at it back again, but I wasn't going to let him outline me. It wasn't. If he did cut the grass, it wasn't fair, really.
Yeah.
So I was hanging on for dear life, you know. And after the complete and utter mess that I've been in this evening, I just didn't want another thing taken away.
Yeah. You didn't seem to have the pace tonight, the same pace as the two Porsches in front of you. Not D-Big seemed to look good. Yourself, kind of all right pace, but nothing spectacular.
It's not that I didn't have the pace. It was just I was getting involved in too many stupid incidences that I didn't need to be involved with. Race 1, when Peaceful dropped it, I hit him and I lost. I had 11 suspension damage, I had 27 front end damage, and I had 6 engine damage. So I was driving with a wounded car for race 1. Took
and am
longer
I right
in
in saying, Dan, that you carried that all the way to your pit stop?
Yep.
Yeah.
What's the point in coming in on lap 3
absolutely.
when I need to get to the pit window? So I lost time through that. Race 2, Emo, I don't know what the hell was going on at the start of the race, but Emo Guy dropped it. Again, I hit him. And then again, Andy drops it, nearly hit him. And then again, I was just involved in too many silly people's mistakes.
Yeah.
That wasn't my fault. I had the pace. I was quicker than Little Leach all night. But I just couldn't use the pace because I was involved in other people's incidences.
Yeah, you had an incident with your teammate as well, didn't you? We saw that one as well. Yeah.
I was desperate to keep Keegs behind me. I launched it down the inside, trying to keep him behind because I knew he would disappear. Overshot it a little bit, and he kind of straightened me out.
Yeah.
So
you got to be. To be fair, you guys got to be reasonably happy. You both taken good points for the team, and you're only 7 or 9? 9 points off Leachy Legends. So you're keeping them honest. You got to be pleased with that, Dan. Yeah.
Yeah, I knew tonight was going to be damage limitation. So points wise, we did all right. Me and D Biggs up there again. But yeah, Gary and Little Leach were bulletproof this evening. Like they were consistent. They did a great job this evening. And again, massive apologies to Keegs if anything happened. I'll take whatever penalty comes my way. But it's racing.
Well, it might be 6 of one and half a dozen of the other. We'll see.
Well,
not the best night.
Well, unlucky Dan, commiserations, but a podium nonetheless. We'll see you next week at Hockenheim.
Yeah, Hockenheim.
Well done.
Cheers, buddy. Little Leach as well. Always goes well round here. He says to me earlier in the week, and a 4th and a 2nd, mate. That's not too bad a night.
Yeah, I'm not too bad tonight. I'm quite slow around here, but I'm quite consistent, which I just pick off the places when I can and just keep my head down.
Nothing wrong with that.
You've put you and Gary, obviously before the drop points get tallied up in a moment, you've put yourself and Gary back in a position where you're kind of used to sitting on top, looking at the rest of the pack chase. Yeah, after you look at this week compared to Spa, the difference in a week is brilliant.
Oh, we were dreadful last week. We both said we were dreadful. I had a bit of practice this week, to be fair, whereas I didn't do any last week.
What did you make of a few of the incidents tonight? Obviously, you've managed to avoid them and get through, unlike Danny, who's got caught up in them. Was it all happening behind you, or did you have to avoid any of it?
I'd avoid a couple of ones. I had a little spin race 2 in turn 1. I spun myself, but I was trying to dodge a car. But apart from that, I pretty much dodged them all.
Well done, mate.
Did you? I've got this theory on the Porsche and its tyres, and I think me and Gary touched on it in the last interview. Do you find that when they're in the window, that the car's absolutely planted, but just after the pit stop, a change of temperature makes the car a little bit soft on its tyres, a little bit squirrely on its tyres? Did you find that?
It does. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I pitted for about 2 or 3 laps after, till they warm, got back up the temperature. You're all over the place.
Yeah, when it's in temperature, it seems to be the Porsche seems to be very, very well planted. But you change the temperature of that canvas, and it does change things, doesn't it? For sure.
Changes, definitely.
Yeah. But I mean, say you and Gary, strong results this evening. Again, staying out front with in the constructors, and but certainly got to look over your shoulder at Shake and Bake a little bit, haven't you?
Oh, they'll be chasing us down all season, no doubt. That should be a good season.
Yeah, for sure.
Well done, Craig. Best luck next week as well, mate.
Thanks.
And we got Gary again. I tell you what, did you not tempt to take your double points tonight? I
was very tempted, to be fair, but I've got another track lined up.
2 wins tonight. You did this one the harder way from coming from the back of the field. You had to avoid a few incidents early on, but at the end of lap 1, that first lap was flying. You seemed to take Biggs with you, and before you know it, end of lap 1, you were 4th or 5th.
Yeah, again, I nearly got caught up in the incident that Dan was talking about with Emo guy dropping it just after the first bend, but I managed to yank the brakes on and divert, and luckily didn't get collected, so yeah, quite pleasing.
Now, how hard was it to get past Jamie? Because, I mean, he looked all over the place with lag tonight.
Yeah, I'm not commenting on that one.
Okay, fair enough.
Fair enough. Yeah.
Going forward to next week then, Hockenheim. Is it more of the same for the Leachy Legends? What can you get out of that one? What you're hoping to get out of that one?
Hopefully some more results. We've got a good base set up for Hockenheim. I will be practicing to try and get a few more attempts, but yeah, we're pretty set to go.
Well done, mate.
Excellent.
Kelly, anything you want to add?
No, not at all. I mean, certainly for me and Matt, you were driver of the day tonight, Gary. I think it was, class of the field tonight. Well done.
Yeah, driver of the day.
Yeah, like I said, just missed most of the accidents and tried to get my head down and go forward. So
consistency's the key for sure, isn't it?
That is very true.
Kelly, any final thoughts on the 2 races we've seen tonight?
Oh, well, no, just to echo what I said earlier, Matt, really, I think Daytona Road is turning into a strong favourite. I think we've had 2 nights of cracking good action, and roll on Hockenheim.
Roll on Hockenheim. Next Wednesday, 8 p.m. BST for the Pro-Am, and next Thursday night, 8 p.m. BST for the Pros. Again, can Gary keep this form and momentum going into next week's races? Kelly, you'll be trying to keep your form going as well next Wednesday night.
After my again, if anybody wants to go back and watch race 2 of last night, it's probably the best sim race you'll ever see. So do go back and have a look at that. Hoping so, mate. I'm still buzzing from last night, and keen as mustard for next week. So watch me drop it and be last next week.
Well, that's all we've got time for here at Simplay Motorsport. Thank you very much for tuning in, liking the stream. We hope to see you all next week, like I say, Wednesday and Thursday for Hockenheim GP circuit. But from all of us here at Simplay Motorsport, take care and good night.
Thank you. Good night.